Ladies and gentlemen, I think it might be time to discuss some AEW. We haven't done so in quite some time. Welcome back to the ZNT Wrestling Show. He is the Cody Crybaby known as Tomas. I am the Cody Crybaby known as the man called Sting in the terms of this podcast. But yeah, no, we're here to pay tribute to one of the absolute greatest ever step foot in the wrestling ring. This was Sting's retirement. This was billed as Sting's last match. He was the headliner. There was no way that he couldn't have gone on last on this show. But thankfully, this pay-per-view was not just about Sting and his retirement. Yes, he was the main focal point, Tomas, but it just felt like there was something for everybody. I loved this pay-per-view. I'm eating a whole bunch of crow today. I'm going to eat a whole bunch of crow.
I want to say I'm eating crow. I think it's very understandable. This is the first time we've talked about AEW since World's End in December. And I got to be honest, I kind of fell off for a minute. I was still keeping up, but I was very tuned out of AEW. I felt like they were just all over the place. When it came to, with the exception of two things, one, the build to Sting's last match, and two, this great world title picture we're getting right now. But everything in between, I was confused. Very confused what was going on. We have a lot of CMLL guys getting in the mix, and I know that's very controversial in its own right. And God forbid you be an uneducated fan, because if you say, I don't know these guys, you're going to get belittled with, well, you should look them up. You should watch their matches. And it's like, I just feel like AEW is such a big pool right now that we have such and in a large roster to throw even more people from other promotions into the mix is just it's a little much. So you got to understand that wrestling fans only have so much energy. And I'm not saying I don't have the time. I don't have the energy to look up all these other wrestlers and your Atlantis Juniors and your Magnuses and your Blue Panthers. And it's just like, I'm sure they're all fantastic wrestlers, but to just throw them into some of these instances was a little overwhelming for me.
It's a little much. And with all these titles that are getting introduced also, it's like there's a part of me that agrees with you. Tony Khan needs to calm the fuck down a little bit. But I'm a fair man, right? I can't sit here and just bash AEW and be tribal, because I am a fan of pro wrestling. And I want to...
I'm not even bashing AEW in this instance. It's more just like, I look at AEW and I'm like, I love you guys, but I have no fucking clue what you guys are doing right now. And then you got matches getting changed. You got people upset backstage. And it just feels like AEW went a little cold. And I was not nervous going into this pay-per-view, but this pay-per-view really felt like I'm an AEW fan, so I'm going to watch the show. And I'm glad that I had that mindset, because this was a very fantastic pay-per-view, almost from top to bottom. I loved this show. And even though a lot of these matches lack the story, and you could throw some shade at me for not keeping up with Collision as much as I should. I feel like a lot of these matches were made and built on Collision, because I was watching the 6-man on Dynamite, and then they said Kingston versus Danielson for the Continental title. And I'm just like, well, when the fuck did that story happen? I thought the BCC was feuding with the CMLL guys. And I'm like, did this happen on Collision? Did this happen on Collision? Did Ospreay and Takeshita just felt like thrown together last second just for getting an Ospreay match on the show? And I was confused. Fuck me for being confused. You got Raw, SmackDown, NXT, Dynamite, Collision, Rampage, TNA Impact. You got MLW shows. You got a New Japan shows. Like, I'm sorry if sometimes it's a little hard to keep together. And, it's WrestleMania season. You got that on top of that. You got the huge storylines going on in WWE. And I'm trying to keep everything right now. So if I miss the 2-hour Saturday show on AEW, put down the pitchforks and torches. I'm not saying this is all bad. I just, going into this pay-per-view, I was very confused. And then you got the big injuries, like the MJF injury, the Adam Cole injury, that really put that rivalry on ice. And it's just like a lot of damage control from AEW right now. So, and then you have kayfabe injuries, like the Adam Copeland one. I didn't even know Adam Copeland got taken off of TV. So Christian Cage and Daniel Garcia. So it just feels like a lot of modifications to some of these feuds. That's just like, the BCC one is the one that just comes to mind. Like, oh, they're feuding with FTR. I thought maybe working with some CMLL guys at the show. Just to find
it doesn't make any sense.
Visa issues, and they can't come from Mexico to the US. So it's just like, goddamn, it's a lot of just rearranging. So again, fuck me for not keeping up with all of it.
Yeah, well, and also keeping in mind, like, I'm not gonna sit here and, like, call people out for this or anything, but, Tomas and I also have lives outside of the podcast, like, there's just not enough time in the day for us to keep up with all this wrestling television that's going on. Like, personally speaking, the pay-per-views, like, those are satisfactory enough for me. Like, there's times where I'll be watching, like Raw and SmackDown, if some looks interesting. Raw is kicking ass right now. But I can't remember the last time I sat down and watched a full episode of Dynamite, start to finish. I don't even think I watched a Collision episode since Punk was there, which is crazy to think about.
And Saturday is just a terrible time to have wrestling on that I forget that Collision's on. And then on top of that, for me, with all this content, I watch Raw, SmackDown, Dynamite on NXT every week for two reasons. Number one, I want to stay up to date. A lot of people have fallen off of NXT, but I want to watch NXT because when these guys get called up, I want to know who they are. So at least give me credit for that, for wanting to know the backgrounds of like Carmelo Hayes and Braun Breaker and Tiffany Stratton and
Obafemi.
Obafemi, who's the NXT North American champion. If that fool debuted on Raw next week, I'd be like, who the fuck is this guy? And, he's been the NXT North American champion this whole time. So it's like, I want to keep up to date. And also, when you have 3 hours of Raw, 2 hours of SmackDown, 2 hours of NXT, 2 hours of Dynamite, and 2 hours of Collision, and 2 hours of Impact, like, wrestling sometimes is background noise for me.
Yeah.
Like, I'll be paying attention to promos. And when I watch, and I listen to all these podcasts and be like, oh, did you notice Sami Zayn flubbed up his words? I'm like, no, because I wasn't fucking paying attention. Did you hear that fan whisper something during Kevin Owens' promo? No, I fucking didn't, because my eyes aren't 100% glued to the screen.
No.
Probably a symptom of ADHD as well. I can't fucking pay attention to a 3-hour wrestling show. I'm sorry. Exactly.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, not to go on too much of a tangent about this, but point being, I wasn't really all that excited going into Revolution either, and I walked out a very happy camper. I think if you miss Revolution live, it is well worth your money. It is well worth, what am I saying here? It is well worth it for you guys to go out of your way and order this replay, because this pay-per-view fucking ruled. like it didn't feel like there was a horrible match on this show. There was one little dud in there that I kind of, feel iffy about still, but up and down the card, I was consistently entertained all throughout. The fans in Greensboro, North Carolina were hot all night long, and I cannot remember the last time there was a pay-per-view in the Greensboro Coliseum, and I don't know why, because this is such a historic venue for wrestling. Many of Jim Crockett Promotions, old school Jim Crockett Promotions, Starrcade 1985, I believe, took place in this building. I can name off the top of my head, Survivor Series 2001 took place in the Greensboro Coliseum, the end of the Invasion storyline. So, a lot of history in that building, and I don't understand why WWE hasn't gone back to this city for a pay-per-view. Tony Khan capitalized on this. And I think,
especially for Sting. Either Sting chose this venue, or they just happened to be going to this venue, and Sting said, "Oh yeah, this is where it all needs to end." But yeah, regardless of everything that I said, I very much enjoyed this pay-per-view. I will even go as far as saying this may be my favorite AEW pay-per-view of all time. It just had such a special feeling from most of the matches, and especially the main event. It's WrestleMania time, and I definitely get sentimental around WrestleMania time. Wrestling just hits different every year around this time. And this is the first time an AEW pay-per-view has really done that for me. And I think a lot of that sentiment came from Sting's retirement. And I'm going to save all of my thoughts for Sting probably after we talk about that match and, throughout everything. But yeah, This one felt very special. And AEW was definitely experimenting with some new production techniques here, which I really appreciated. They got a brand new set, which I thought was really cool.
It was a cool ass set.
If they kept that just for pay-per-views, because I feel like if they just did that for Dynamite, I have a feeling they're going to do it for Dynamite. The set will wear out its welcome, just like every wrestling set that's used every single week, regardless of what promotion it is. The days of unique wrestling sets have definitely gone down in
They're
quality.
dead. They're dead.
Yeah.
And it makes me so sad. It makes me so sad. AEW was doing unique sets for a while. Like, they would put, like, gears on the stage for full gear. They would put poker chips on the stage for double or nothing. Like, where's the originality now? Where's the originality in these designs?
Wrestling companies, especially WWE and AEW, they're more focused on just putting more people in the building as opposed to giving it an aesthetic. Because, you know, the bigger the set, the less seats you're going to have. So I feel like they have just really brought it down to basic sets just so they can get more people. I always think about that. Like, let's take WrestleMania 28, for example, when John Cena comes out and he says, we got people sitting behind the scoreboard.
Yep.
Can't have people behind the scoreboard if you have a ginormous set. But
exactly.
You get what I'm saying there. We did have a pre-show that I was not able to catch live, so we're going to quickly go through. There was only 2. So thank you for not squeezing 4 matches into 1 hour. I think AEW is starting to catch on that you can't do a 16-match card. I get it. I'm paying $50 for the show. I appreciate more value for my dollar, but sometimes less is more. And again, if you're going to tack on a 4-hour pay-per-view on top of all those wrestling shows I just listed off, I would appreciate if I wasn't burnt out by the second match of the main show, which would probably be the 5th match of the night. This is one big clusterfuck of a tag team match. The Bang Bang Scissor Game, which is the collective formation of the Acclaimed, Daddy Ass, and Bullet Club Gold, which are the Ass Boys, Jay White. And Jay White still no Juice Robinson to be here from. I think he's injured. And they're taking on this motley crew of the King of the Mountain, Jeff Jarrett, Satnam Singh, Jay Lethal, Willie Mack, and Private Party, Isaiah Cassidy, and Mark Quinn. Somebody went onto universe mode on Fight Forever. They hit the random button, and they came up with this beauty of a tag match.
That's a random ass tag team right there. That's for sure. What the fuck is Tony Khan doing with the Acclaimed right now? They should not be on the pre-show. They're the trios champions of the world. They are still freaking over with this crowd, I think. I don't know if Max Caster's gimmick is just fucking up his rap every week now, but I think it kind of endears the crowd more to the Acclaimed, because they're like, okay, is Max Caster gonna get through his rap? Is he gonna get all of his lyrics right this time? You know, but
yeah, but I'll tell you why. What they're doing with the Acclaimed, they're the trios champions. The trios titles are cold. Ring of Honor is cold. The 6-man tag team titles are on Bullet Club Gold. They have formed this weird amalgamation that feels very uncharacteristic of the Bullet Club Gold. So they're going to eventually turn on each other, and they're going to unify those 6-man tag team titles. Because you know what? In wrestling, there's barely enough room for one set of 6-man tag team titles. Now you have 2.
So I didn't watch this match, but per the rundown, Jay White defeats Willie Mack with the Blade Runner to get the win for his team. I have a question for you. You think Jay White's starting to have second thoughts about his decision?
I think he's looking at Will Ospreay right now and being like, what the fuck, Tony?
This motherfucker was main eventing Full Gear with MJF not even 6 months ago, and now he's curtain jerking on the pre-show. I'm flabbergasted, because Jay White is way too talented to be relegated to the pre-show.
And Bullet Club Gold was a good thing. It was a good thing. The minute they slapped these 6-man tag team titles on them and had them start fizzing around with the Acclaimed to Daddy Ass, I think this whole, whatever you want to call it, is hurting both teams. Because you want to rewind to a couple of years ago when the Acclaimed were white hot to the point where fans were calling for an audible in the tag team title match to get those tag team titles on them. And then Acclaimed were white hot. And then they took the titles off of them for the Ass Boys just to get those titles onto FTR. If you would have put the tag team titles on the Ass Boys like 3 months ago, perfect. Would have loved it. They were over like Rover. But, you look at both sets of teams that got so over, and now you just kind of killed their momentum with this thing. You killed the Acclaimed momentum just to get the titles on FTR, and you killed Bullet Club Gold's momentum with that absolutely horrendous overbooking of Jay White at Full Gear, like you mentioned.
Yeah, but at least he was main eventing the show with the most over babyface in the promotion in Maxwell Jacob Friedman. But, I mean, you can't really rate the match, but you also had Chris Statlander and Willow Nightingale beating Julia Hart and Sky Blue on the pre-show. Julia Hart is the TBS champion. I don't know why she's losing here, but
yeah. And again, you want to talk about gimmicks that have gone cold. Julia Hart, when she won the title at World's End, they haven't been doing anything with her. At least to my knowledge. Again, I haven't been watching Collision. Maybe the TBS title is Collision exclusive now. Maybe I need to get on that. But again, Julia Hart won this title in December. Let's get away from Chris Statlander now. I don't know what you need to do with Chris Statlander. I don't know. Maybe you need to promote her to the main women's title. Or I hate saying this, since she's messing around with her BFF Willow Nightingale, maybe have her feud with Athena and Ring of Honor just to, I'm not saying Chris Statlander is underdeveloped, but to put her in sort of like that, it's like nowadays going back to NXT isn't the worst thing in the world. So maybe Chris Statlander needs to go to Ring of Honor. Maybe that will help her out. Maybe she can be the one to dethrone Athena for that title. Get her super over. That'd be damn cool. Jade Cargill. Maybe she can be the one to beat Athena. So, but it's just like we're here like 3 months later, and Sky Blue and Julia Hart are still messing around with Chris Statlander. Let's move on to something else. Please.
Yeah, this isn't long-term booking. It's just repetition at this point. But in that regard, we move on to the main show. March 3rd, 2024, AEW Revolution from the Greensboro Coliseum in the historic city of Greensboro, North Carolina. Right to the action as usual. There's not like a gigantic video package like WWE likes to do. They just cut right to the chase and they get right to the wrestling.
And I wanted to mention that because AEW usually does have an opening promo package. And I think they didn't do that because they knew they were cut for time with this one. They had a 4-hour window and they did want to leave some time at the end for Sting to give some words. And I noticed that it's like, okay, they're probably cutting some corners right now because we got a 9-match card. A lot of these matches go over the 15-minute mark.
Oh,
We got a guy retiring tonight that deserves some airtime. And spoiler alert, Sting didn't get as much airtime as he deserved. A lot of that promo had to go to the YouTube video, which, before we start this match, fuck BR. I'm so over them. I'm so over Bleacher Report. We didn't watch this show live.
Here we go.
Thank God we didn't, because I heard people were having constant blackouts in this opening match. And that sucks when you're paying $50 for this show and Bleacher Report can't even get the streaming right. Tony Khan, we're begging you. Get a streaming service, make your own, get that deal with Max, do something because not only is Bleacher Report very unreliable, especially with experiences I've had in the past. I didn't finish this show in one sitting. So when I turned on the show again, not only did it not save my place, BR fast forwards and rewinds at a snail's pace. You press that fast forward button once, it fast forwards 2 seconds at a time. And the fastest it goes, like 15, 20 seconds at a time.
Yeah.
So when you don't save my spot and I'm at the final hour and a half of this pay-per-view, that means I got to sit there in front of my TV for like 5 minutes.
And Tony,
and I don't know my timestamp either.
And Tony, you got to get that streaming deal done because God help me if I pay $50 every month for your pay-per-views if you're going to do 12 a year now with a fucking AEW Dynasty show announced for 2 weeks after WrestleMania. Like, I'm begging you, man. Like, help your fans save some money. Like, I will support you, but help us save some money. Help me help you. You know?
It's not
I'm begging you.
Anymore.
Yeah.
It's not 2005 anymore. Even though this was one of those pay-per-views that was well worth the $50. And again, it's the streaming side. I can't stand BR. You can't watch the show right away. You only have a certain time window you can watch the replay. And again, I can't get over that fast forwarding and that rewinding. Like, I literally sat in front of my TV for almost 10 minutes trying to find my spot because I didn't know my timestamp either. And when I fast forwarded too far, I'm like, oh,
ridiculous.
Shit. Now I got to go back. So that was ridiculous. I'm sorry to all the fans that experienced blackouts during this opening match. It's unacceptable. It's really unacceptable.
Yeah, it is unacceptable. But you know what wasn't unacceptable is this opening contest. I thought it was a very fun opening contest, actually. Do you want to get into it?
I think that is 95% of the negativity I wanted to get out of the way in this opening,
of course.
This opening SNL monologue, as we should call it. For the TNT title, the Father of the Year, Christian Cage, is defending against Daniel Garcia. This was a very interesting match that got put together. Adam Copeland was taken out with the Concerto by Christian Cage on Collision. Say that 5 times fast. Concerto by Christian Cage on Collision.
On Copeland.
Yeah, on Copeland. So Copeland is kayfabe injured. He was apparently supposed to face Christian Cage at this pay-per-view for the title. I do appreciate a little more long-term booking, so they took Copeland out as opposed for someone else that could really use the rub.
Like Daniel Garcia. Yeah.
In Daniel Garcia. I have had my issues with Daniel Garcia in the past. I thought his dance was stupid. I've been calling him the Alex Wright of AEW this whole time. But when they announced Garcia to take Copeland's place on this match, him and Christian Cage sold this match in one pay-per-view. One segment. One promo segment it took for Garcia, for me to really get behind Garcia, and for Cage to absolutely rip Garcia a new one and make me want Garcia to rip this fool's head off. So very much props to both of these guys for getting this match. And I really did appreciate this match. This was a really good opener. This was a common theme I noticed throughout the night. This was less about spots and more about storytelling, because Christian Cage really knows how to command the pace of a match, especially when he's the heel. And I thought him and Garcia told a very fun story in this opening contest.
And now you folks, now you viewers and you listeners can understand why Tomas and I absolutely adore Christian Cage. He is not only one of, if not the best heel in AEW right now, he's proven throughout his entire career so far, he is a brilliant professional wrestler that never gets the attention that he has deserved for so long. He is a magnificent storyteller. The drama in his matches is like top tier. Every move in a Christian Cage match matters. Like, there's no fluff in the middle. Like, when Christian Cage hits an arm drag on Daniel Garcia, for example, like, he sells that damage, you know? And it's like, it's masterful stuff.
Match focused on two things: Garcia's shoulder and Christian Cage's ankle. They really zeroed in on both of those body parts right there. And again, I just noticed Christian Cage really commanding the pace of this match and really guiding Garcia through more of a storytelling process as opposed to a spot fest. Also, we do have the patriarchy at ringside, which is very important to bring out, with Killswitch, Mother Wayne, and the prodigy Nick Wayne. I really love this little faction.
I love that her name is Mother Wayne on TV.
She is Mother, because she is Mother.
She is a mother. Yeah, Christian just slid into her DMs, but there was a point where
Christian Cage, as we know, is Father of the Year. So.
Yeah, no, they were huddled talking strategy, and the cameraman was trying to get into the huddle, and Christian was like, "Get out of here! We're talking strategy. I don't want anybody to hear." Perfect.
And let me say this right now. Nick Wayne may not be like Dominic Mysterio levels of heat, but I appreciate the work this kid is putting in.
Yeah, no, keeping in mind, he's not even 19 years old yet, so he's still got a long career ahead of him.
No, especially if he hasn't even graduated middle school yet, so this kid has a while to go.
You're saying that he's like an 11-year-old kid out there?
He is.
Anyway, it's funny you mentioned Christian selling the ankle, because it started off as like Christian doing like a routine leapfrog, and he pretends that he tweaked his ankle, and he uses that to his advantage to gain the upper hand on Garcia. But then Garcia starts to actually target the ankle and hurt him. The ankle lock was on Christian at least a half a dozen different times in this match. Garcia taking notes from his friend Jake Hager. I don't know. I don't get the appeal of Jake Hager. I don't know why he's still relevant in AEW right now, but
he really isn't, though. But that's beside the point. There's a point in the match that I really appreciated Nick Wayne selling, because Garcia fights him off in the backside, and I think he shoves him off into the timekeeper's area, and Nick Wayne damn near goes over the barricade, which is a really cool spot.
Does. He does go over the barricade, and he he hits his neck on the back of a chair that Justin Roberts was sitting in, I think.
Yeah, it was really great selling. And as this match kept going on, the more and more I wanted Garcia to win this title. The more and more, even if it came down like chicanery, like I'm surprised there wasn't an Adam Copeland running in this match. I'm surprised Copeland didn't cost Christian Cage the title in this scenario, because I don't necessarily think the feud needs the TNT title. This could have been very warranted to pass the title to Garcia, let him, elevate himself, and then Cage and Copeland can finish their issue off with no hitch.
To be fair, though, that TNT title feels so much more prestigious when it's around Christian's waist. So it would be like, I feel like it's a part of his character now. Like, he is the greatest TNT champion of all time. Like, I get it. Like, belts should not be a part of someone's character. It should be, you know, a target that someone is the best in the division. But Christian just made that a part of his character, you know, ever since.
Let's put it this way. This match could have been the same as Kofi Kingston versus Chris Jericho from Night of Champions 2008, where you could have benefited a young guy from getting this title, and they could have continued the more personal feud, even though Jericho and Shawn Michaels was never about the Intercontinental title.
No.
And the TNT title is a lot more relevant in this situation, but it was an option. And the way Garcia was fighting in this match, the longer it went in this 17-minute opener, the more I wanted to see Garcia win. I was really pulling for this guy.
Fantastic near falls on a jackknife cover. Garcia hit, like, I don't think he hit his finisher on Christian, but there was a really, really, really close false finish where I was like, I thought that was it. But then you get all this interference, and this is where the match feels a little bit overstuffed with things.
It was a pile driver that Christian Cage kicked out of.
It was the pile driver. You're right. Yeah.
Before we get into the third act of this match, when it came to like the selling and the storytelling, I really appreciated this spot. So you know that spot that Christian Cage does where someone will be draped over like in 619 position, and Christian Cage will run, he'll leap over the top rope and nail you with a slap. He went to go do that spot and he went to leap, but he realized his ankle hurts too much. So he rolled under the bottom rope and he's still connected with the slap. I was like, little details like that I really appreciate. It wasn't like
more proof.
Swerve Strickland and Dustin Rhodes at fucking World's End, where Dustin stops selling his ankle being crushed by a cinder block 5 minutes into the match. I really do appreciate when wrestlers don't forget that a body part is hurt.
Don't remind me and don't upset me about that match. This is supposed to be a great pay-per-view we're talking about. So Luchasaurus gets involved. He goes to hit a choke slam on Garcia. Christian jumps off the top of the frog splash for a false finish, but then you have Daddy Magic run out to even the odds. He goes and he fights Luchasaurus, and this is the strong... Yeah, Daddy Magic looked like the ballsiest version of Daddy Magic we've ever seen before. Mother Wayne does step up to him. Daddy Magic stops a slap from happening. Him and Luchasaurus fight to the back. And then Daniel Garcia, I know what I said. Daniel Garcia starts to get the upper hand. I think this is where the pile driver bit happens. So anyway, Mother Wayne gets on the apron. Nick Wayne hits a huge uppercut on Daniel Garcia, and Christian pins him. Retains the title. Continues his 200-something day reign as a TNT champion.
He's got to be the longest reigning TNT champion of all time. Christian Cage retains. Oddly, no Adam Copeland interference. Oddly, no. I mean, I can understand no title change, but I was really surprised that Adam Copeland did not make his presence known in this match. But this was really fun. I enjoyed it. It was definitely a callback to probably the earlier AEW pay-per-views where the openers were a lot better, well-paced, and they had more of a story behind them. But I enjoyed this a lot. I'm going to give it 3.5 stars. This match made me a Daniel Garcia fan, and it made me want to see him win a title.
But does it make you want to do the dance?
Like Tony Khan, sure.
Let's make fun of
Tony Khan try to do the Garcia dance.
Yes, I have, and it's fucking cringe. But in any case,
and have you ever heard Tony Khan say, "The great"? There was this basketball player that came out I think on Rampage, and he the way he said it was just oh my god.
Well, I mean, it's it must have been snowing in that city, but anyway, not gonna imply anything, but we're just gonna move on to the next match, which is a freaking incredible match. It is Eddie Kingston defending all 3 of his title belts against the American Dragon, Bryan Danielson. And the gimmick is, if Bryan Danielson loses this match, he has to shake Eddie Kingston's hand, which is a very hard thing for Danielson to do because he thinks Eddie Kingston's a bum. But if there's one thing Bryan Danielson knows how to do is how to put over talent, and he knows how to put on a killer wrestling match with anybody involved. I think this is probably my favorite Eddie Kingston match I've seen ever, which is, I've seen a lot of Eddie Kingston at this point, but I think this is the best match Eddie Kingston's ever had. And I don't know if that's a testament to Danielson's talent or Eddie Kingston meeting him halfway or what, but these two guys just clicked.
Here's the thing. I had zero expectations going in about this match. I don't know what it was. It just felt thrown together. It just felt like a reason to get this. And here's the thing. I'm not going to dog on the title like I used to. I'm just genuinely confused about one thing. Are the Ring of Honor World title and the New Japan Strong title still a thing? Or is it all just amalgamated into this one title?
It better be.
Is the Continental title a title on its own? Or is the Continental title all three of these titles?
The Continental Crown Championship is all three of these titles combined. The AEW Continental Championship, the Ring of Honor World title, and the New Japan Strong Openweight title.
So that's where I'm confused. So the AEW Continental title is a title on its own. But with the Ring of Honor World title and the New Japan Strong title, together they form the Continental Crown title?
Yes.
Okay. Tony Khan titles in this company.
Tony Khan needs to calm the fuck down. And like
there's too many titles in this company, and two of them aren't even his own. I mean, one of them is, but
one of them is the World Heavyweight Championship for Ring of Honor. I cannot stress that enough. The Ring of Honor World title has lost so much prestige since Tony Khan has taken over Ring of Honor. I'm sorry.
That is like if WWE took the Intercontinental title, the NXT title, and the United States title and made them into one title. Yeah, that's the best way I can think of it.
Yeah, it's like taking the World Heavyweight title and the Intercontinental title and merging them into one. Oh, wait, they already did that. It's stupid.
Yeah, that was
It
awful.
is dumb.
But regardless of that, you say, is this Eddie Kingston? No. Here's the thing about Eddie Kingston. Eddie Kingston is the definition of it does not matter what you look like. It does not matter what ethnicity you are. It does not matter what background you come from. If you have the passion, if you have the drive, if you have the sheer determination to succeed, you can succeed. Because you look at Eddie Kingston. He does not look like any other professional wrestler on this planet.
No.
He is dark-skinned. He is short. He is a little chubby. And I don't like saying that because I know he doesn't like that. But he is literally the anti-pro wrestler when it comes to aesthetic. But you see his love and passion for the business, and you look at him and go, that's what a professional wrestler should be. Does he have muscles? No. Is he the most attractive person on the planet? No. Is he the healthiest person on the planet? Probably not. But he loves this business, and he has the mind that everybody should have if they want to succeed in this business. He went from living in his car, living on the streets, eating scraps off the road, to being the hardest working pro wrestler of this generation.
He really is like Tommy Dreamer, isn't he? Like, he's more like Tommy Dreamer than I think we give him credit for. And I don't think Tommy Dreamer ever had a match this good, all due respect. No. But good God, these two just went in there, and you know how Bryan Danielson, the American Dragon, is like PG Daniel Bryan on freaking like all the drugs imaginable, like on crack. Yes. Yeah. And like the fact that he is as vulgar as he is, and this is key, as violent as he is. Daniel Bryan was never this violent on the other side in the Fed. Like, Bryan Danielson goes in there and he's going to kick this guy's head in. He's going to kick his fucking head in, and he's going to try and win his very first AEW championship. Like, the fact that he has not held a title for this promotion yet is a blasphemy. But again, I think that's just a testament to how selfless Bryan is, like, in regards to...
Yeah, that's my thing. A lot of people are upset that Bryan Danielson has not won a title. I kind of gave up on that pipe dream after last year's Revolution when he didn't win the world title. I think considering where Danielson's career is kind of winding down to an end, he knows his place in this business, and we know Danielson, he cares more about shaping the future of this business as opposed to adding more accomplishments to what he already has. And that's why he wanted to go to AEW. He wanted to work with guys like Eddie Kingston. He wanted to work with guys like MJF, Jay White. He wanted to go to Japan and have, you know, matches with Zack Sabre Jr. and Okada. And, he just wanted to put on the best pro wrestling matches imaginable. So considering
don't forget Ricky Starks, the strap match.
Absolutely, yeah.
Jeez.
Considering Eddie's trajectory and the journey he took to get to this title, I didn't think Bryan Danielson was going to win, but this was so fucking good. This was a technical masterpiece.
Amazing.
And again, you can tell Kingston is a student of the game. We know if you follow him on Instagram, he loves two things and two things only: old school Japanese wrestling and New Girl. We get to see the New Girl side of his personality go into his gimmick, but you can tell he loves Japanese wrestling.
How do we know he likes New Girl? Does he say that on social media?
He just posts a bunch of New Girl edits on his Instagram. It's the greatest thing ever.
Perfect.
I need to Kingston. I'm going to ask him what his favorite episode of New Girl is.
Perfect.
I love that show too.
There you go. It's a hot commodity, that's for sure. There were so many.
You watch New Girl?
No, I haven't actually.
Well, fucking get on it.
I will for sure. The crowd is constantly chanting Eddie, Eddie, Eddie. Could you imagine Eddie Guerrero versus Eddie Kingston?
No.
If the fans were chanting Eddie that entire match, who would they be rooting for?
No, because I'd be cheering Kingston.
Why? Why? Eddie Guerrero is one of the greatest of all time.
No, but I would know how to differentiate the two because it's not that hard.
It really is not that hard. But
okay,
I mean,
fine. How about Eddie Guerrero, Kofi Kingston, and Eddie Kingston in a triple threat? Then we wouldn't know who we're cheering for. No. Eddie and Chavo versus Eddie and Kofi.
Which Eddie? Which Eddie? Which Eddie?
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I'm
Christian Cage versus Christian Cage versus Brian Cage in a steel cage match with Diamond Dallas Page as a special guest referee, with Ethan Page on commentary and your special guest timekeeper, Page.
And your special guest gatekeeper holding the key to the cage is the Hangman, Adam Page. This podcast has gone off the rails, clearly. It also should be noted, again, I said it, I don't remember what other podcast I said this, but I am 100,000% convinced that Nigel McGuinness is cleared to wrestle because he is cheering so much for Eddie Kingston. He fucking despises the American Dragon. Even though Bryan is working heel in this, and Nigel is the heel sympathizer, you have never heard a heel commentator cheer so much for a babyface in your life. Like
Nigel McGuinness to Bryan Danielson is to what Bobby Heenan was to Hulk Hogan. Because Bobby the Brain despised Hulk Hogan. And no matter what, basically Bobby Heenan would say, they would tell Bobby Heenan if Hulk Hogan could walk on water, Bobby Heenan would say, oh, look, Hogan can't swim. He would find any single minute, any single opportunity he took to dog on Hogan, he would do it.
To roast him.
Does the same thing to Danielson.
Yeah, no, I'm convinced that we're getting Danielson versus McGuinness again in Wembley in 2024. So that's all I'm saying. Danielson,
and that could be both of their retirement matches.
It's interesting because Danielson starts doing the yes chant just like he did at last year's Revolution, Tomas. And you know that because we were in attendance for last year's Revolution. He does the yes chant, he hits the running knee, and then he almost gets the 3 count, but it's a running knee. He gets a running start, and then he...
Just because you can't say Busaiku doesn't mean it's not what it's called.
Well, I mean, it's the running knee. So Bryan starts to kick his fucking head in a little bit. There's a triangle choke on Eddie. He gets his foot on the bottom rope.
Which is very important because Danielson used that same triangle choke to choke out Eddie Kingston in the 6-man tag on Dynamite.
Yeah,
so a lot of storytelling there. And it was really... This is a little bit of inconsistency. I'm not going to say about this match, but just in general. How come sometimes when someone's passed out from a choke, they'll just like check on them and then ring the bell, but in other times they'll do the hand drop?
Yeah, I love how Eddie put up the T2 Judgment Day thumbs up to let the referee know he was all good. And
oh yeah, but it's like, you know, you can tell when they do the hand drop, they're going to get up. But then sometimes like there's no point in doing the hand drop, just call the match. It's just like, because I was looking at like, you know, by all intents and purposes, this match should be over. Like, Kingston's not moving. He's not responding.
Kingston, after Bryan hits the world famous yes kicks, he gets right back up. Eddie Kingston makes a comeback. Stiff
made
ass
famous by the Miz.
Stiff ass left hand strikes, hits Danielson with the hardest clothesline I've ever fucking seen, and then he hits a pretty power bomb on Daniel Bryan, and he gets a 3 count, retains all 3 titles. And true to his word, I mean, like, Danielson, like, teases that he's not going to do it, but he's like, nah, I'm just kidding, buddy. I'm pulling your leg. Shake my hand. And they do the...
Danielson was being a troll because, you know, Eddie waits for him, and Danielson starts to leave the ring. And then he comes back, and he does it, and he goes, nah, I'm not going to do it. And he leaves like, nah, I'm just kidding, man. He does it twice.
I'm just kidding. But Eddie Kingston, this is how you elevate a guy, and this is how you put him over big time on the big stage. Danielson really knows how to do that these days. Excellent match. I'm going to go 4.25 stars. Really freaking dug it.
I'm going to go 4.5.
4.5,
really
damn.
Fucking good.
Yeah. No, I mean,
just loved it from start to finish. The crowd was super into it. Every spot was so, you know, mapped out, so planned out. These two weren't on the same page. They were on the same sentence. These guys put together an excellent match. Honestly, after watching this match, I want Eddie versus Samoa Joe. So they can absolutely murder each other.
So they could, like, just chop each other as hard as they can. I don't think Samoa Joe's been chopped harder since he had the Kenta Kobashi match back in the day. Like,
yeah,
I'm sure Eddie Kingston would want to try and top that, but yeah, we'll see. We'll see. But I thought it was an excellent match. I think it's, if you wanted to argue that this is match of the night, it'd be a hard point to argue against but that's the amazing thing about this show is you have a few matches that you could really legitimately argue was the match of the night. Awesome.
Yes, absolutely you could. And now I think we are at the lowest point of the show.
Yep.
So let's get this out of the way now. It is an all-star scramble match with the winner receiving a shot at the AEW World Title at a date to be determined. You got Wardlow, Chris Jericho, Powerhouse Hobbs, Lance Archer, Hook, Brian Cage, CMLL's Magnus, and Dante Martin of Top Flight. What a motley crew.
Time out.
Don't say it. Don't
Time
say
out.
it.
What is
Nick?
What is Nick Aldis doing in this promotion?
He's not.
He's the general manager of SmackDown. He's not fooling anybody by hiding under a mask and using his TNA name. He's not fooling anybody. Okay? Nick Aldis is in this match, and he's getting
what Aldis has been doing on the weekends now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So anybody who thinks he's not cleared to wrestle, watch this match. Nick Aldis can wrestle. For sure.
Let's go into the background of this match a little. This was originally supposed to be Meat Madness.
I'm so pissed off. I'm so pissed off we didn't get Meat Madness. I wanted to find out what that was.
It's like Pumpkin King Balor versus Sister Abigail at TLC 2018 or 2017. We're never going to find out what that was. It was supposed to be a multi-man hoss fight, including the likes of Wardlow, Archer, and Cage. Wardlow, Archer, and Hobbs. More names are going to be announced, but Tony Khan said some other people he wanted included were going to be injured, and the 2 names that were brought up the most were Miro and Keith Lee. Keith Lee, we know he is just going through the worst time health-wise. We don't know when his trajectory back to the ring is going to be. But Miro, on the other hand, apparently he was injured in September. He was injured in September. He worked that World's End match with Andrade in December at World's End, but apparently he's been cleared for like a month now, and there's some miscommunication going on between him and Tony Khan. That's yeah. We might be seeing Rusev back in WWE sooner rather than later.
And I will be the happiest man alive celebrating Rusev Day sooner than later. But the match,
it's just that it just seems like Miro and Tony Khan just have a very destructive relationship, because a lot of people are calling Miro out, saying Tony Khan never advertently said he didn't know about Miro. He was just saying he wanted Miro to be involved, and I guess Miro took that a little personally. He took that a little out of context, and maybe he's the next one that needs to be dealt out a fine for mouthing off on social media. Where's Hall Monitor Danielson when you need him?
But
on the other
Hall
hand,
Monitor Danielson.
On the other hand, Miro has definitely been underutilized in AEW, and
yeah.
Again, maybe the grass is greener on the other side. Maybe he needs to hit up his buddy Andrade and be like,
right?
Hey man, is it really good over there?
Could you imagine that gimmick, Hall Monitor Danielson? Like he comes out like wearing Poindexter suspenders, and he has like a little laminated hall pass that says, "I'm the Hall Monitor. You can't get past me."
Chewing gum backstage, eh? $100 fine. He should get with the Young Bucks right now. Could you imagine that?
Fucking hell. So the match does start off. You have all the hosses in the middle of the ring, all four of them. The crowd is chanting meat as they're slapping meat against each other. They all flex while all the guys on the floor basically stayed out of the way. They do some collisions, no pun intended. And, you know, I guess that's what they meant by Meat Madness. They were just going to run into each other over and over again. And the crowd was going to chant meat.
I'm not going to lie. When they started doing this and they started doing the pose down, I'm like, what is this? What is this? What is this? This is some house show bullshit. It wasn't fun. I was not having a good time.
No, I wasn't having a good time, especially considering the fact that Tony Khan still finds it necessary to put Chris Jericho on pay-per-view. But, you know,
again, somebody hit the random button. They set up an 8-man match. They hit a random button on universe mode, and this is what they got.
Well, no, you don't understand. It's in Chris Jericho's contract that he has to be on every AEW pay-per-view because he's Chris Jericho. But
you know what, man? I don't have the bandwidth to police everybody.
I know.
If you want to still sing Judas, you go right the fuck ahead. Let's just say I'm not going to be anymore.
No, me neither. The crowd was very quiet when Jericho came out, and then once, you know, it got a little silent, the crowd kind of, you know, picked up some steam, but
I mean,
it's not what it used to be.
A good amount of people are still singing, but I'm not going to police everyone. I just don't like Jericho anymore, and that's beyond the Kaylee Ray stuff. I just think, dude, no, read the room. You are not over anymore. You are not. There's not a place for you in the company right now.
Kylie Ray, not Kaylee Ray.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was thinking about Alba Fire.
Yeah.
Smiley Kylie. I should have said Smiley Kylie.
That's
but
okay.
Anywho, yeah, like, you have the hosses doing their thing. I would have appreciated a little more meat. I'm sorry. Running into each other is not meat. And I have a bone to pick with this. I cannot fucking stand. Powerhouse Hobbs and Miro was fucking great. I loved everything about that match. But it's like, they did that, and now anytime two big guys in the ring, meat. I'm like, no, I'm sorry. You need to earn the meat chant.
Yeah.
Four guys running into each other is not meat.
No.
Meat to me, this is so weird saying. Meat to me is two guys slapping the fuck out of each other, slamming the fuck out of each other, clotheslining the fuck out of each other, showing why they are hosses. I'm sorry, just because you're a hoss?
Yeah.
It's like the This Is Awesome chant. I'm sorry. Not every single match is warranted the This Is Awesome chant. And I feel like the fans are going to ruin the meat chant before it even begins to be cool.
The meat chant to me was deserved on something like Gunther versus Sheamus at Clash of the Castle. Like, if we had started chanting meat during Gunther, Sheamus, and Drew at last year's Mania, like, man, it would be a whole different story. And probably
Miro and Hobbs, where the chant was born.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you got to earn it. I'm sorry. Some of these chants you got to earn.
You do. Powerhouse.
You want to talk about someone who was scaring the fuck out of me was Dante Martin, who was a little botchy during this match, and considering what happened to him last year,
shattered his fucking ankle.
Young Master Martin, please be careful. Please.
Yeah. Don't hurt yourself again. You know, like fucking miracle that he's back in the ring after that injury. But in any regard, you have multiple German suplexes by Wardlow. There was one sequence where Jericho and Nick Aldis hit a stereo lion salt on some bloke in the ring.
Magnus.
I know, it's the same guy, Nick Aldis. But Jericho locks in the lion tamer on Wardlow as Hook has the red rum on Wardlow. How does Wardlow not fucking tap to that? Like, how does he not tap?
Because Hook is a little koala bear, and he's just hugging Wardlow from behind.
This
is where I have my bone to pick with the CML stuff. I'm sure Magnus is a fine enough wrestler. But I'm sorry, these luchadors are a dime a dozen. There's like 7,000 of them.
Yeah.
And here's the thing. You could say, oh, well, just Google him, watch one of his videos, yada, yada. I get that. I'm not, but you're putting this guy in a world title contender match. What if he won? Am I supposed to care?
Yeah. If you want to put a luchador in this match, that's totally fine. In that case, put an established luchador that the AEW people know about, like El Hijo del Vikingo, maybe. Like, could you imagine the fucking spots he could have pulled off in this thing? Like El Hijo, fucking Commander. Like, where's Commander been? Is he injured?
Penta was in a qualifying match.
Thank you. Ray Fenix, maybe.
Penta, a former world champion in his own right.
Yeah.
Again, I have nothing against this guy. I'm sure he's a fantastic wrestler, but I'm sorry. I know I'm going to be that dickhead right now. I don't know who he is, so why should I care?
Yeah, I mean, he's just Nick Aldis under a mask, but Wardlow headbutts Hook as hard as he fucking can, and then he hits Dante Martin with a last ride to get the pinfall. No, look at how he delivered the powerbomb. He grabs Dante Martin by the back of the tights and lifted him up as high as he could. That's a last ride. I'm sorry.
Also, this is the second match in a row that ended with a powerbomb.
Yeah. At least this powerbomb was better, but 2 stars. Chris Lash special. Yeah. This was my least favorite match on the show. Could have very easily done this on Dynamite, and it probably would have been, probably wouldn't have changed the damn thing.
Could have been better.
Yeah.
Could have been better. But it was just too, for a multi-man match, and it was basically 2 separate fatal 4-ways. That's lazy. This should have been absolute madness, and it was very sloppy.
Could have been a ladder match.
Face of the Revolution ladder match. I thought that was a staple of this pay-per-view.
Right?
And they just didn't do it.
Well, you also don't want to put Dante Martin in any more ladder matches, but anyway.
Fair. The right guy won. And I know this gave me a little faith in Wardlow, because even though he joined the Undisputed Kingdom, I still think he's a chump. I still think he's Adam Cole's little bitch right now.
He is.
This is an opportunity to really put him on the right track. Again, which I think is ridiculous even saying that out loud. But this is an opportunity. A lot of people are saying, oh, don't put him in the ring with Samoa Joe. Why not? Why the fuck not?
We saw that match last year.
It's heel versus heel. I don't give a shit. That's a hot spot right there. Wardlow and Joe. And now we're 1 year later where Joe is the fucking world champion now. I think these two could have a hell of a match. So, Wardlow and Joe. Samoa Joe can be the de facto babyface in that.
Yeah.
He can play babyface and still be a heel.
I only have one condition if you do that match. Give Joe his fucking win back. He better retain. Because if Wardlow beats him for this title and he just hands it over to Adam Cole, I'm sorry. Again, I said this during World's End. That is the exact same dilemma that Christian and Luchasaurus are doing right now. It's the same exact thing. But...
Yeah, 100%.
So, don't make Wardlow look like a chump. Just have him look strong in defeat. Have him pass out to the Coquina Clutch. Don't have him tap out. That's all you need to do. Yeah. So...
It'll be a fantastic match. This is one of those instances where the loser can look good in defeat. And I think that's what Wardlow needs right now.
Yeah. Let's have Joe hold on to this belt for a while. I don't want him to lose it right now. So
no, he's not a transitional champion.
No.
This next match I was very looking forward to.
Yeah, speaking of the Undisputed Kingdom, it's the Messiah of the Backbreaker, Roderick Strong, coming out with some interesting entrance attire to challenge freshly squeezed Orange Cassidy for the International Championship. Orange Cassidy has his ribs and lower back heavily taped with kinesio, so that is a humongous bullseye on this guy, because especially going up against Roderick Strong, you know he's going to exploit that and hit as many variants of the Backbreaker as he could.
I heard a lot of people complaining that this second Cassidy title run has been basically the same way as his first, but I think it's added a new element to it, where I know Cassidy was defending the title a lot and he was a workhorse, and Cassidy cut that great promo where he said, I'm tired, I defend this title every single week. I defended at different promotions. But now Cassidy has gone from tired to burnt out and running on fumes. Because it was last week on Dynamite where they told Cassidy, so you defended the title on Collision, and then you went to England and defended the title at Revolution Pro, and now you're back on Dynamite to defend your title again, and then you're going to wrestle on Collision this Saturday. Yeah, and honestly, when they ran through all that, I'm like, this poor man's running on fumes.
This guy,
and during this match, I can tell like he's gonna give out now. His legs are going to give out from underneath him.
It's so ironic that the workhorse title is being carried by a guy whose gimmick is that he's lazy. Like, I just think that's the funniest thing to me. But anyway,
I'll say it again. Is Cassidy a promo guy? No.
No.
But he is.
Because, you know why? You know why? Because he doesn't have a catchphrase. So he's not a promo guy. So.
Not a promo guy.
Fucking love Orange Cassidy. Whatever,
Not a clothesline guy either.
No.
Not a spear guy either.
Nope. Fucking Christ. I don't know where you're going with that, but there was a fucking scary, risky spot where Strong hits a gut-wrench powerbomb on the top turnbuckle. Perfect landing by Orange Cassidy, and the selling there was just, that was such a cool move. That made this match so much, stronger bonus points there, for sure. No pun intended, but...
Roderick Strong needed this match, I'm telling you, because I'm not going to lie, the wheelchair gimmick was starting to get annoying. The constantly screaming of people's names, it was getting annoying. And I'm like, I love the character work that Strong is doing right now, and I like that he has a place in AEW and he's not just another guy on the roster. But I fucking missed. I missed this how great he's one of the most underrated wrestlers I've ever seen. Whether it was in Ring of Honor, whether it was in NXT and in AEW, I'm like, I just want to see this guy wrestle.
Yeah.
And this match reminded me why I love Roderick Strong so much.
Yeah, Roddy's incredible. There were at least a dozen different backbreakers that we saw in this thing. Really shows you why he's the messiah of the backbreaker, and that's his specialty. Strong applies a Walls of Jericho for some reason on Orange Cassidy, Boston Crab. What do you mean? Yeah, no, you told me it was the Stronghold. You told me it was the Stronghold.
Yeah.
I got you. I got you. I got you in your gimmick. I caught you.
Stronghold.
I caught you red-handed. And then you call the move wrong. So two can play this game.
Stronghold.
Yeah, it is. It is. Yeah, it's a very strong hold, but Orange Cassidy got out of it, so it's clearly not that strong of a hold. Just saying.
And I know we were going to say next, so I'm going to cut you off now. Orange Cassidy hits the orange punch.
Yeah, why was he
strong?
Why was he hitting Roman Reigns' moves? What?
Orange. That sounds delicious, by the way. At my next AEW pay-per-view, I'm gonna make some orange punch.
Yeah. Oh, that sounds really yummy. Good. Yeah, that sounds really yummy, man. Yeah. Put some
I'm gonna make a recipe.
Yeah, put some Sprite in there. Sprite and orange juice.
What's that stuff that Lindsay had me try that one time?
What, the Shirley Temple?
Yeah. What was that syrup called again?
Grenadine?
Yeah,
Grenadine? Fuck it. Yeah, why not? Orange Cassidy hits a Panama Sunrise for some reason. And then he gets a close 2 count. Adam Cole, I'm sure, is very pissed off that Roderick Strong kicked out of his finisher. But anyway, Roddy gets hit with the Superman punch, of course. Orange hits a beach break right by the rope, so Roddy puts his foot on the rope. Referee sees it. Orange Cassidy can't believe it. Roddy then avoids another Superman punch, and out of nowhere, hits the champion with the end of Heartache, and we have a new international champion. This was the most likely title change outcome on this card, and I'm so happy to see that Roddy won. I was very surprised that he won clean, without the help of the Undisputed Kingdom.
I love the story of the Undisputed Kingdom really zeroing on Cassidy to make sure that he had no chance of winning this match.
They didn't need to interfere. Didn't need to interfere.
Damage.
Yeah.
This was very needed, and this was, again, the most foregone conclusion match on the card, because not only does the Undisputed Kingdom need something to do, and they called their shots after World's End. They said, Roderick Strong's going to win the international title. The Kingdom already has the Ring of Honor tag team titles, which honestly, at this point, you should put the AEW tag team titles on them.
Fuck it.
And Wardlow is going to win the world title and hand it over to Adam Cole. Like, they're
Debatable.
slowly building to that. And even though I'm not a big fan of this faction, I do think there is a way to salvage it. Like, I'm going to quote Solo Monster. If Roderick Strong did not win this title, then the whole group should just disband right now. Because they have no reason to exist.
They've had a very rocky start ever since Adam Cole was revealed as the Devil. That was a great final segment to World's End, but ever since then, the waters for the Undisputed Kingdom and their castle, if you will, have been very murky. Like, you know,
it's not their fault.
No.
Adam Cole's been injured since what? September?
Since Grand Slam, yep.
And MJF had to take care of these nagging injuries. There was no way this man was going to be able to continue wrestling under the condition he was. So,
but it's very interesting. It's very interesting that you say that the main layer of this story can't really happen any further right now because both these guys are injured. Both Adam Cole and MJF rather are injured. But it's funny you mentioned that because Roddy is celebrating in the ring, and you know Matt Taven, Mike Bennett go out there to join him. Who comes out from the front row but Kyle O'Reilly? And I was like, wait a minute, that's Kyle O'Reilly. I looked at him and I'm like, he's like grown out his hair a little bit. Hasn't been seen inside a ring in almost 2 years. He's been dealing with a almost career-ending neck injury. And it was very clear from the reception that the crowd gave him. Like, he was getting emotional in there. And you knew that this meant so much to this guy. And I was so happy to see him. And
it's so great to see our homie Chris Lash back in there doing his thing.
Fuck you. So
so let me tell a funny story. I'm glad because I thank you for bringing up Kyle O'Reilly first of all. But here's the thing: I was watching this pay-per-view very late, and it was around this match that I started nodding off. And I'm like, okay, so I fell asleep. I missed the finish of this match, but I literally, it's like my brain told me, wake up, something's happening, and I look up and I go, oh shit, that's Kyle O'Reilly.
Right?
He's got long hair now. He looks rugged. Dude looks like he's been living in a cave the past 2 years. And like you said, he's had a very serious injury. We didn't know if he was going to come back. And it's so cool to see him back. And I really like where they're going with this because Roderick Strong, again, it's all hugs, him in the kingdom. Yay, Kyle O'Reilly's back. And they're not even questioning it. They're like, we know exactly what you're here to do. Strong takes off his shirt, gives it to O'Reilly and said, you don't even have to do anything. Come on, buddy. You're already part of the group. Man, look at that. The Kingdom and the Undisputed Era in the same faction.
I know. Fucking amazing.
O'Reilly looks at the shirt, and he looks very conflicted. It's like, yeah, man. The only person they're missing is Bobby Fish, but no one really cares about Bobby Fish.
I don't care.
He looks at the shirt. He looks at Strong like, yeah, man, you're my bro. We've been through so much these past 10 years together, but I can't do this. So he gives the shirt back and he walks away. So it's not like, it's like, I'm not saying yes, but I'm not saying no.
Thanks, but no thanks.
It's going to be a very interesting development. And let me tell you right now, I'm looking forward to the Strong versus O'Reilly match for the international title.
Man.
We know that's coming. You know it's coming.
I'm looking forward to seeing Cole and O'Reilly go at it again. Like, just like, you know, pandemic NXT days. That was a fucking awesome feud that they had. So underrated in hindsight, but welcome back to Kyle O'Reilly. Can't wait to see what he does with All Elite Wrestling from here on. You could tell that this return meant a lot to him, too. So I was right there with you, man. I was right there with you. But in any case, you want some tag team action, playa?
Absolutely. This was probably the match I was most confused about, but everyone seems to be into it. So this may be a match where I'm like, okay, let's be into it together. It's Jon Moxley and Claudio Castagnoli representing the Blackpool Combat Club taking on FTR.
This match was fucking awesome. This match was fucking awesome. Yeah, this was great. Mox and Claudio come out and they're wearing Road Warrior spikes, which actually popped me. I mean, interesting that they wear Road Warrior tribute on a show that's centered around Sting's retirement. But, I mean, I get it. It's Greensboro. You know, the Road Warriors were very over in Greensboro back in the day as well. So, in this case, is Moxley Animal and is Claudio Hawk in this case?
Sure.
Okay. Sure. Hawk, sure. Definitely, no, because Hawk was the taller one. And Claudio he's definitely got Mox height-wise, for sure. 100%.
Which one of them is going to form a tag team with Lance Archer?
Mox, obviously.
Okay.
Yeah.
The new Road Warriors.
Yep. The new Road Warriors. Yep, absolutely. So FTR gets a big ovation. They're from North Carolina, so it's a big homecoming for them. 30-minute time limit on this, and these guys, fantastic tag team wrestling here. FTR has turned into quite the great babyface team, haven't they? Like, I don't know what it is, but
they really have. But ever since FTR dropped the titles to Big Bill and Ricky Starks, it's just they've kind of just fallen off the grid for a little bit. Like, not really much of a direction for them.
They've been floaters. I'm kind of surprised they haven't gotten involved in the Edge and Christian feud yet, seeing as how they're such good friends with Adam Copeland. Like, I'm shocked that they haven't gotten into that to even the odds. But in any case,
we call them Adam Cope TRFT.
No, they are rated FTR. Rated FTR.
Yes, I knew they had a team name.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
You missed TMFTR yet?
I won't miss them if Triple H decides to re-sign the Revival and they reunite with Punk on the other side. But anyway,
the Revival punks.
Claudio looks fucking awesome in this
Punk
match.
Revival.
I'm trying to get back on subject here. Claudio looks better than he has in months, I think. Looks like a fucking badass in there. There was a great, fantastic counter sequence where FTR goes for the Shatter Machine, and Claudio catches Cash, who was going for the knee part of the Shatter Machine, and he starts doing the Claudio swing. He gives him about a dozen revolutions, no pun intended, before Moxley comes in with the dropkick. Great stuff. Dax was bleeding hard way as well. Don't remember exactly how that happened.
Concerning. That was concerning.
That was a lot of blood. A lot of blood, man. But exchanging strikes with Moxley. Dax is looking like 2001 Stone Cold Steve Austin with all this blood here. And the crowd
considering how bloody this match was, why didn't Cash Wheeler just whip out his Glock?
Hate you.
Glock Wheeler should have came out.
I hate you.
Moxley, he's already got a court date, so might as well add more fuel to the fire.
Might as well. Yeah. Mox and Dax were getting very physical with one another. It just seemed like these two despised each other. They were just hitting each other as hard as they could. Dax is spitting in Moxley's face. FTR hits a Shatter Machine on Mox for a great false finish.
Big rig.
No, they actually do call it the Shatter Machine on TV, so fuck off. No, it's the Shatter Machine.
Point, it was called the Big Rig.
No, I get it.
A good name.
I get it. Claudio hits a neutralizer on the floor, and Cash then hits a pile driver on Claudio on the floor. Mox then goes for a... so Moxley hits the Death Rider. False finish, 2 count, because Dax rolls him up, and I thought that was going to be the finish, but I was like, that kind of doesn't put over Mox's finisher in the best way if the guy who's taking the move just rolls him up after that. Yeah, okay, so then what happens is Claudio goes out into the ring, chokes out Cash Wheeler, while Moxley chokes out Dash with a rear naked choke. Dax is out, and again, inconsistent, because the ref doesn't even do the 3 thing. Like, he doesn't even lift up Dax's arm 3 times.
Thank you.
Yeah, doesn't see that Dax... It sees that Dax is completely out of it, doesn't even bother doing the 3 arm lifts. Awards the match to the BCC after a terrific 4-star, 21-minute tag team match. It was very
Zach,
physical.
I gotta thank you right now. Thank you for filling in the blanks for some of these matches, because when you watch the show and you're nodding off, I was just laying there like, this is good. This is very good. I'm not gonna remember most of it tomorrow, but...
Don't worry about it.
Good.
Don't worry about it.
The blanks.
Yeah. I'm only going 4 stars on it because it started off a bit on the slow side, but I mean, at the same time, to the match's advantage, once you build towards that conclusion, just makes it all the better. I guess it just depends what you like in your pro wrestling, but I really enjoyed this.
This was really good. This was very, very good, and I agree with you. It definitely didn't start picking up until the latter half of the match.
This was... in my opinion, Tomas, I think it's probably the biggest surprise of the night, because it's a match I was not looking forward to at all. I felt like it was completely random just to get all 4 guys on the card.
I knew it was going to be a good match, but I didn't like having any dog in this fight. this was a million times better than anything FTR and the Bucks have ever done. But you know how I feel about those two teams.
We'll get to them. But anyhow, up next, you have another title match. It is the Virtuosa, Deonna Purrazzo. I know you're a big fan of Deonna, so let's talk about her a little bit. She is challenging Timeless Toni Storm, her former roommate, her former friend, for the women's title.
Do I say it now?
Yeah, go ahead.
Deonna Purrazzo, why don't you go to WWE?
Why not? Yeah, why not?
Why don't you go to WWE? Because I can tell you right now, just by watching the build, and was it a good build? Sure. I can tell you exactly what the aftermath is going to be. They ain't going to do shit with Deonna Purrazzo. She is going to fizzle off into the background. She is Tony Khan's flavor of the month. We all know who's coming to AEW.
Mercedes,
they're coming to make big business.
Of course.
And let's just say she's the brand new Barbie doll that's coming out that all of the kids want. Tony Khan is getting his hands on her, and that's the only toy he's going to play with for the next year. While all the other toys are collecting dust in the toy chest.
Yeah,
and Deonna Purrazzo is the latest toy in his collection.
No, I'll tell you exactly. I'll tell you exactly what's going to happen. Probably over the next 6 months or so, Timeless Toni Storm is still going to be massively over. But on the side, you're going to have Mercedes wrestling all these matches with Serena Deeb, who's calling herself the final boss on Collision for some reason, obviously to build to a match with the boss, but Mercedes is going to have these big time matches, maybe one against Britt Baker one of these times, yes, but I think it's all building to Toni Storm defending that title against Mercedes at some point, because that's the biggest women's match you could do at this point.
Exactly, but Deonna Purrazzo, you want to look at her trajectory ever since the first time she left WWE, and I want to say 2018, 2019. She went to TNA, and she became their woman, their girl. She held the title for a year plus, and she was making a name for herself. And when she became a free agent, I just thought, in WWE, you look at how they're handling the women over there, and especially in NXT, there would be so much room for her to grow and for her to be a star. But, we all know AEW's weakest point is their women's division. And the fact that she came in like every other girl, like the Ruby Soho, like the Saraya, like all these other, like the Athenas.
Yeah, what's Saraya doing? What's Saraya doing right now?
And I know Saraya is very limited, but, you look at all these women that have gotten signed. What do? Tony Khan immediately puts them in the title picture. They immediately lose to who was the champion at the time, and then they're relegated to Rampage, Collision, or they're banished to Ring of Honor.
Sucks.
In Athena's case.
Absolutely sucks, man. But
so that's what I was looking into this match, and I love Deonna Purrazzo. I have loved her work, and I have liked the build to this match. Maybe not as much as other people, because I really hate the trope of, oh, we've been best friends. Well, this is fucking news to me.
Well,
I thought me of in TNA when I learned that Christian Cage and Rhino are apparently best friends. I'm like,
well, yeah,
okay,
yeah, Rhino.
Apparently,
yeah, no, Rhino and Christian were really good friends in WWE. You remember Team Wreck? Rhino, Edge, and Christian.
Because I wasn't a fan during that time, and I get it. Oh, do your research. Sorry.
No, I remember that.
Research, guys.
So, okay.
But you get the comparison, I guess.
No, I thought this build was actually pretty interesting. Toni Storm and Deonna Purrazzo were best friends at one point, roommates, and Deonna was like, "What happened to my friend? Why are you you're not timeless. You're not Marilyn Monroe.
What happened to my friend? Why did you go back to the 50s?
Yeah,
I'm concerned for you, friend.
Yeah, she's trying to
Mariah May. What is Luther?
So. In context, Toni Storm is obviously the heel and Deonna's the babyface, but I think in the fans' eyes, Deonna is 100% the heel because she is ruining all of our fun. Because Timeless Toni Storm is the most original AEW gimmick we've gotten since Orange Cassidy, and I'm still holding true to that. She is very fun to watch. Her antics are extremely entertaining. Her facial expressions are awesome.
I love Toni Storm and I love the gimmick, but my issue with it, if Toni Storm was an actor in a community theater, she is definitely the person that the director would be like, okay, I see your energy. It's all the way up here. Now I need you to bring it down to here.
Yeah.
Like some of these extra things that you're doing, cut it out.
So me.
Focus,
so me.
Everything. Not me, just kidding.
Yeah, well, anyhow.
Toni Storm, you don't need to lay on the announce table and touch yourself.
No.
It's like little things like that. Like,
yeah, so,
yeah.
So.
You want to talk about this entrance that damn near gave me a stroke?
So Toni Storm, Deonna Purrazzo makes her normal entrance as the challenger, but then you have Toni's old punk rock anthem playing, and they had me fucking fooled. I thought it was gonna actually be Toni Storm doing a throwback here.
Yeah, the Wild Child is back.
It's Mariah May dressed up as punk rock Toni Storm. And as soon as I saw how long the hair was, I was like, that's Mariah May. They're fooling us. And then the timeless music hits, the black and white lens comes in, and yeah, it's mind games.
I knew that too. Like, I knew when she came out, I'm like, oh, this is probably Mariah May. But that was for a good 5 seconds. I thought I was watching NXT UK again. And I'm like, okay, like, is Toni Storm gaslighting us now? Is she going to come out and say there was never any timeless gimmick? This never happened. I don't know what you're talking about. I've been injured the past 2 years. Or I've been injured the past year. And then, timeless Toni Storm comes out. And I'm like, Mariah May looks exactly like Toni Storm in the getup.
If you cut her hair shorter, then, they could be the spitting image of one another. Mariah May's hair goes all the way down to her waist. Toni Storm's hair never went down that long.
When is Mariah May going to become Toni Storm's understudy?
I don't know, man. I think that's one of the names that Tony's got to beat to build up to Mercedes. So, yeah. Sorry, Mariah.
She's got to be like Damien Mizdow.
Yeah. So, in any case, what'd you think of this match?
It was all right.
Yeah. I mean, it was solid enough.
Because I knew what the finish was going to be. And I know sometimes it's not about the destination. It's about the journey. But the journey was it was a match. This was the quietest the crowd has been. And this honestly adds into my biggest issue with this match. AEW really needs to stop treating the women's title match like the buffer match. And this is what this match felt like. It only went 12 minutes. You look at Rhea Ripley main eventing a pay-per-view. You look at WrestleMania, the amazing match she had with Charlotte Flair. You look at Io Sky. You look at NXT, when you have a 6-match card and 4 of those matches are women's matches.
Look at the awesome damage control story going on right now.
You can't say you care about women's wrestling and then book it like this. So it was just very... I don't want to say it was this bad, but I'm like, am I watching a 2007 WWE pay-per-view?
It feels discouraging. Like, the match quality is certainly better than 2007 WWE. Don't get that twisted, because these are very talented ladies in there. But I'm totally with you, man. This felt like the buffer match. It only went 12 minutes, and probably another huge nitpick, has the exact same fucking finish as the opening contest. Because you have Luther getting up on the apron, distracting the ref. You have Mariah May getting involved physically with Deonna Purrazzo. Toni Storm hits the Storm Zero and retains the title. That's the exact same way Christian won against Daniel Garcia. Exact same way.
Exactly what I didn't want Luther's role to be, because I have praised Luther's work in this angle, and I love the way he interferes without actually interfering. But now he's just any old heel manager goon doing he's doing the shtick. And it was just like, I get it, but I wanted something more. I'm still waiting for that 5-star women's match at AEW. I'm still waiting for another Britt Baker Thunder Rosa Lights Out match. I'm still waiting, for something like that. And this was not it. I'll give it 2.5 stars.
I like these two as workers, and I think they did solid enough work to warrant 2 3/4 stars. But, it was just another one of those matches I couldn't really get into, unfortunately.
It'll prove my point exactly. If Deonna Purrazzo was on Dynamite or not this week, if she is not, thanks for proving my point.
Yeah.
If she was in WWE, Shawn Michaels would take in a good 2 years to build her in NXT. Then she'd be off to the races on Raw or SmackDown with a plethora of options to do. But you know what? This is what happens when you get signed and you're put on the mountaintop, and you know you're not even going to get to that summit. You're just going to get pushed down. You're going to snowball down and say hi to Ruby Soho and Saraya while you're down there.
Yeah, Ruby Soho, Saraya. I don't want to say Jamie Hayter yet because she hasn't come back from injury, but it just seems like, yeah, Jamie Hayter. That's another name that I feel like Toni Storm's going to beat en route to Mercedes. But we'll see. We'll see. You know, I mean, you say you care about the women's division, Tony Khan. Practice what you preach, okay? So that's all I'm saying. Anyway.
And I hate to say this, but when his brand new Barbie doll and Mercedes Moné arrives on the scene, how much more is he going to care about Toni Storm?
Yep, Mercedes is going to be the female CM Punk. I can already sense it. I can already sense it, man.
Yeah.
I can already see it coming.
Okay. Let's get to what people are calling the match of the night.
Yes, it is. It is.
We have the AEW, technically the full-time AEW in-ring debut of the aerial assassin Will Ospreay taking on the Don Callis family's Konosuke Takeshita. The story is a little weird, but we remember the last time Ospreay was on AEW television, he was basically, he's an assassin. He was Don Callis' hired assassin to take out Kenny Omega. We saw their Forbidden Door match. It was my candidate for match of the year. I love that match. But now that he's back, now he's full-time in AEW, he's a babyface for some reason.
He is.
He's a babyface. Like 6 months prior, he wasn't trying to kill Kenny Omega with that fucking brick.
Will Ospreay, there's something special about this lad. He throughout the whole 2 years I've been watching him, because I'll admit, yeah, I saw clips of his matches with Ricochet on the indies and those crazy ass flips that they were doing, and just the unreal, cartoony aspects of those matches is just it's mind blowing. That's why he's called the aerial assassin. But this guy has made me such a fan over the past couple years with his matches against Orange Cassidy, Kenny Omega. Hell, even Chris Jericho. I'll even throw Jericho in there. Ospreay got a really good match out of him.
In the last 5 matches I've seen of him, and 4 of them are 5 stars, that's when you knew you have a special performer on your hands. But real quick, yeah, Ospreay's a babyface now. He's in AEW. He is gung-ho to be in AEW. But again, the last time we saw him, he was aligned with the Callis family. So Don Callis comes out. He's still thinking him and Ospreay are buddies. And he said, you know what? I need to keep you sharp. I need to keep your skill on set. Your mind needs to be sharp. So you're going to face Konosuke Takeshita at the pay-per-view. It's as simple as that. It's a tad weird because,
it's like
Ospreay is clearly a babyface.
It's
clearly.
It's like a scrimmage against Konosuke Takeshita. A scrimmage where they beat the holy fuck out of one another. And they pull off some of the most amazing moves you will ever see. Some of the most amazing counter sequences you have ever seen. This match was so incredible.
This is not proof that Takeshita should be a main stage player.
Thank you.
This was your proof right here.
Thank you.
He's a main event fucking guy. And I don't know what it is about Tony Khan cutting off people's breaks.
He's the alpha.
He's
the alpha.
You're gaining momentum? Snip.
Yeah.
Why does he do this?
Guy that pins Kenny Omega clean in 2 straight pay-per-views? And that guy is not your next big thing? It took you long enough to realize that, huh? Yeah. Took you long enough.
Takeshita went backstage okay, I pinned Kenny Omega twice, Tony Khan. What do you want me to do next? Nothing.
God, this...
Nothing. Take a break. I don't want to take a break. Take a break.
Good lord. The bridging German suplex sequences, just Ospreay just no-selling the German suplexes and hitting clotheslines. I fucking love this match. I cannot... A play-by-play of this thing does not do it justice. I think you just have to go and fucking watch it. Because it is,
like I said,
something special.
Very much, not half asleep, but very cozy watching this match. And I was tired. I was looking at the screen and I just go, I'm just going to enjoy this.
Will Ospreay is going to...
as a wrestling fan.
Will Ospreay is going to make AEW television must-see in the same way that AJ Styles made TNA must-watch television when that first started. Because you go and you watch AJ Styles and all those X Division matches and all the crazy shit he was pulling off. And that was the highlight of those shows, and that was the reason why AJ was my favorite. AJ was my guy on Impact.
Oh yeah,
He's
still top 5 of all time, or top 5 currently in professional wrestling right now.
Yeah,
Ospreay is coming back for me. Ospreay won me over, not only with the Ricochet match, but the Orange Cassidy match.
Yeah.
I very much prefer his old theme song, and every time his theme song starts to grow on me, he changes it. So stop that. But no, this was pure bliss. I loved this match from start to finish.
God.
This was fan-fucking-tastic.
Absolutely.
22 minutes of just sheer adrenaline, psychology, storytelling. The crowd was on the edge of their seat the entire time.
How about
every move imaginable was in this match? How
about the counter from the Oz Cutter into a Blue Thunder Bomb? Like, that was just beautiful. Absolutely beautiful timing from both guys. They weren't just on the same page. They weren't just on the same sentence. They were on the same fucking word. Like, these guys were in sync so well. Incredible chemistry from the get-go. Just Oz Cutters the whole way through. There was an amazing turnbuckle brainbuster from Takeshita that gave Ospreay this...
What the fuck was that?
This gigantic bruise in his kidney area. And I'm like... only Will Ospreay is crazy enough to try that. You know, like...
Will Ospreay hits the Tiger Driver, which, again, it's very irresponsible to let a Tiger drive. Takeshita kicks out of that.
Yeah, Stun Dog Millionaire into a Poison Rana. Just an incredible, incredible match. And speaking of, Will Ospreay does hit a Styles Clash at one point in this match, which is awesome. Awesome to see.
I'm not to his buddy in WWE. I love that.
Yeah. Underhook Tiger Driver 91 drops Takeshita almost hard, like so fucking hard, almost breaks his fucking neck. Like landed like Sabu did against Chris Benoit those years ago. But yeah.
Scary as the one he gave Omega at Forbidden Door.
But then he hits him with the Hidden Blade forearm. That's it. 5 stars. Love this match. That's my match of the night. No question about it.
You know what? Same. 5 stars. I was going to put it on the same level as Danielson and Kingston because I loved both of those matches for different reasons. But considering I think this match just offered more. It offered more. And not saying like, oh, Danielson and Kingston didn't give me enough. Just this match was more.
Yeah.
Both matches I loved so much.
I hate to say that the piece of shit Don Callis was right, but he said that this would be a match of the year contender. And here we are. Match of the year contender. Ospreay Takeshita at Revolution. So
both of these guys need to be competing for world titles. I have been such a fan of Takeshita. Takeshita has been AEW's pet project, and I wanted Takeshita to be like, I know he's not a homegrown guy, but who else knew who Takeshita was before he came to AEW?
I didn't know who he was.
AEW to be, again, I wanted this to be his training grounds, to be one of the biggest stars. Like when you hear AEW, I want you to think of Takeshita.
Yeah.
And putting such stop-start to his momentum isn't going to do him any favors. So keep the momentum going on this guy. I love this guy.
I mean, when I think of AEW, I think of MJF. But yeah, Takeshita deserves to be in that same sentence there. But in any regard...
His real name is Konosuke Takeshita.
Yeah.
Bank on that.
We're not going to play that game right now. We're not going to do it.
And Will Ospreay's real name is Will Ospreay.
No shit, really? Yeah. No, bank on Will Ospreay. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and Toni Storm's real name is Toni Rostal.
I don't fucking care right now. We're talking about wrestling.
Yes, you do care.
What? Let me guess. Is Deonna Purrazzo's real name Deonna Purrazzo?
Yes, it is.
No shit. Really? Oh my god. Yeah.
Not
this is
everybody knows that.
Another stupid game Tomas likes to play. But anyway, up next you have
too, jerk.
Yeah, no. Wink, wink. You have a triple threat match up next for the AEW World Heavyweight Championship. The Samoan Submission Machine, Samoa Joe, up against Hangman Adam Page and Swerve Strickland, who comes out with like a whole bevy of cheerleaders. You know what? The Who's House, Swerve's House catchphrase is actually taken from the Los Angeles Rams. Who is Swerve's favorite team? Traitor! You are from Seattle! You should like the Seahawks, buddy! Come on! Traitor! Traitor!
Nah, this is why Swerve Strickland's my favorite wrestler in AEW right now.
Why? Because he makes me mad about him not being a Seahawks fan?
But before we get into this triple threat, we need to talk about the build to this match, which is very important. Hangman and Adam Page and Swerve Strickland, ever since we talked about World's End wasn't their Texas Death Match. Was it Full Gear?
Full Gear, yes.
Full Gear, their Texas Death Match. And these two have been at each other's throats so much they managed to turn each other babyface and heel. It was a number one contenders match for the AEW World Title on Dynamite that went to a 30-minute time limit draw. And Strickland was the one begging for 5 more minutes. And Page said, no, you couldn't beat me, so you're not getting the world title. And to quote CM Punk, that's not cowboy shit, that's coward shit. And the minute Hangman Page did that, I was like, oh, this was a good old-fashioned double turn. Hangman Page is so obsessed with making sure Swerve Strickland does not win the world title.
Yeah.
He's going crazy. He's getting unethical. It's a little weird because wasn't Swerve Strickland the one that performed home invasion on Hangman Page? But yeah, Hangman's the bad guy now?
Yeah, because everybody loves Swerve. Everybody loves Prince Nana. I have a question for you. Since Swerve is a babyface now, does that mean the rest of the Mogul Embassy is babyface?
No, I think he should just get away from them. Why do we hate Hit Row, but we don't mind the Mogul Embassy?
Because Swerve is with Prince Nana. It's just fucking amazing. Yeah, literally Swerve makes his entrance, and I keep saying this, and I'm going to hold true to this. Swerve is AEW's answer to Roman Reigns. I'm telling you this right now. Just because of how Swerve carries himself, and the swagger and the charisma that he has, and the aura that comes with him, and how he looks at the crowd. Put him side by side with a Roman Reigns entrance, and tell me I'm wrong. Tell me I'm wrong.
How crazy was it that when Swerve Strickland debuted on SmackDown, I'm like, I want to see him fight Roman Reigns.
Yeah.
For the Universal title.
Yeah, look where he is now. Hangman.
Thanks for taking that from us.
Per the nameplate, you're right. Hangman Adam Page has absolutely lost it. The guys who edit the little nameplates on the graphics always like to joke about Hangman Adam Page about how he has he's had three Modelos before this match. You know, they come up with stupid shit like that. And they say Hangman Page has absolutely lost it. He's turned heel. Yes. He has a porn mustache now. He's completely unethical. You know, everybody hates the Hangman now. It's crazy. Has he been heel in this company before? Because I don't think he has. No, that's fucking insane, man. With how long this company's been around.
Again, I've compared him to Drew McIntyre before, so this heel turn is 100% necessary in the evolution of Hangman Adam Page. And that's what a lot of this match was. It was less about Hangman Page winning the title. Of course, he wanted the title, but he was trying to prevent Swerve Strickland. For some reason, I keep wanting to call him by his real name, Shane Strickland. So he wants to prevent Swerve Strickland from winning the world title because to him, the only way he can get back at Swerve Strickland, because he knows he can't beat him one-on-one, but he can make sure he doesn't win that world title.
Yeah. Let's not forget that it's not a tall task to win the world championship anymore, because one of my favorite wrestlers is holding that title now, Samoa Joe. I think he's been doing great things with this title. This his
Samoan Joes?
Is this his
world champion right now?
No, we're not doing this. Is this his first defense of the world title since beating MJF? I want to say it is, but I could be wrong.
Say it's not, but I can't remember.
I could be wrong. He might have defended it on TV, but regardless, he's doing great things with this belt. He's calling himself the management, which is incredibly ironic. He calls himself the management on Twitter. He's like, yeah, it's weird. Yeah, you've got to go through me if you want to be the top dog. You know, it's just.
Why does your Joe impression sound like Macho Man?
It doesn't. No. Macho Man sounds like this, and I gotta go. You know.
Yeah, it sounded like Samoa Joe.
No. There's no way. They're two very distinct promo styles.
He's Joe and he's Samoan.
Yeah. Why don't they call Roman Reigns that? Would that just be too? Would that be too confusing?
Samoa Joes.
Yeah. Why not just call Roman Reigns Samoa Joe? It's the same thing.
Do you think Samoa Joe's favorite Girl Scout cookie is Samoa's?
It's every member of the Anoa'i family's favorite Girl Scout cookie, I'm sure. Even though Joe is not a member of the Anoa'i wrestling dynasty, he's not a member of the bloodline. But regardless, this match was great. I really enjoyed this. Very physical once again. All three, I think, worked really well together. Great storytelling in this. I think better storytelling than wrestling, all due respect. Just because, again, just exactly to your point, Hangman Page is so obsessed with keeping this title away from Swerve that he is willing to do anything to keep the title off of Swerve. There was a point where he actually hit Swerve with the title, and he's like, "You see this? You're never going to get it. You're never going to get it." That's a terrible Hangman impression. I know. I'm working on it. But he's dangling.
Is that cowboy shit or is that coward shit?
No, it's coward shit. It's coward shit. Thank you, Punk. Thank you, Punk. Yeah, he's a heel. He's a heel now. So,
and then probably in a very necessary development to Swerve Strickland's character, Prince Nana hands him the crown. And Strickland looks at it and goes like, "Nope, I'm not doing that anymore. I'm winning this title on my own." What a great guy that Strickland is.
Yeah, you just met him. He's a humble guy. He's a humble guy. Yeah.
Great guy. What a great guy Shane Strickland is. He bashed Dustin Rhodes' ankle with a cinder block, and now he's not going to cheat anymore. Wrestling's weird.
What a double turn, huh? So Swerve hits Hangman with the house call. Hangman hits a couple of buckshot lariats. I think he hit Joe with one, and he's like, "Oh, I'm not done. Joe needs another one. If I'm going to beat a 310-pound Samoan Savage, I'm going to need more than one buckshot lariat." So he goes for another one. Beautiful counter by Joe into the Coquina clutch. And Swerve is crawling to get the save to make sure that...
Before we get to that, after Page hits those buckshot lariats, there was a ref bump. Like, Page Strickland couldn't win with those.
Oh my God, you're so right.
Commentary by JR of all people. So when Hangman Adam Page goes for the pin, JR says, "Oh, there's no referee. That's your fault, Hangman. Like, you're the reason why there's no referee."
Yeah!
And when the second referee comes down and Joe kicks out of the buckshot, Hangman Adam Page just starts beating the fuck out of this referee.
Thank you.
Just like punches him, mounts him, and just starts beating the shit out of him.
Yeah,
God damn, Hangman, relax.
Thank you for bringing that up. And first of all, JR was on the call for this match, and I'm so glad to see that his cancer treatment is going well. Hope you fight out of this one, JR. But Hangman. So to your point, Swerve was pinning Joe. The referee's counting, and Hangman starts beating the fuck out of this official as he's making the 3 count. Throws him out of the ring. He does a complete face plant. He goes to pin Swerve after a big move.
"Oh, Hangman Adam Page, he's looking at fines and suspensions for beating down a ref." And I'm like, no, he's not. No, he's not. This literally happens to the refs all the time.
Yeah. I mean, he might get fined in kayfabe, but not in real life. Not in real life. He's too good friends with Matthew and Nicholas to be fined. But anyway, so he starts beating the fuck out of the second official after what you mentioned. He goes to pin Swerve with no referee, and JR's like, "Well, that's your fault. That's your fault. By God." And then Hangman beats up the second official, Bryce Remsburg, I believe, chucks him out of the ring, and then he goes for his second buckshot on Joe, countered into the Coquina clutch, and the first referee, the original ref, comes too. Swerve is crawling into the ring while the Coquina clutch is locked in, and just before Swerve gets there, Hangman taps out. So the question is, Joe retains, first of all. That shouldn't have been in any doubt, honestly, because Joe just won this belt. But was Hangman tapping because he actually was in so much pain from the Coquina clutch that he couldn't take it anymore? Or was he tapping to keep the title away from Swerve?
I really did like that final image of the match, and that raised that question. But I think it could have been delivered a little better. Like, I think it's because Joe had his back to Strickland as he was reaching to make the breakup. But so Paige didn't even know Strickland was making the save. I think it would have been a lot cooler visual if you would have just switched them around so they would have been facing Strickland. And could you imagine Paige just looking at Strickland like dead in the eyes, looking at him going, you're not going to win this title.
You're totally right. Yeah, that would have been so much better and so much more bastardly of the Hangman to do. But yeah, I think if you rolled Hangman over just 90 degrees, then that would have been that would have made all the difference. You're so right.
Have you ever seen a person just not lose a match on purpose just so the other person doesn't win?
I've never seen anybody throw a match. I mean, I've seen people throw challenges on Survivor all the time just to get rid of somebody that they think is threatening, but...
it's like AJ Styles flying halfway across the world just to make sure LA Knight doesn't win the Elimination Chamber.
What a fucking hater he is. Yeah. Fucking love AJ. I can't wait for that Mania match, but... when it happens. But that was a really, really good World Heavyweight Championship match. 4 stars, I think. This was fantastic storytelling. This Hangman Swerve saga is far from over. I think we're gonna get I don't know if there's anything crazier that they can do than the Texas Death Match from Full Gear, but we might get another stipulation match.
Where do you go from here? Where do you go from here?
I really don't know, man. I really don't know, and I'm really captivated to see what happens next. But yeah, I'm captivated to see Joe. I mean, I don't know if the Wardlow match is going to happen at Dynasty or not, or if it's just going to be a Dynamite match. I was going
to bring that point up next. Before we get into this main event, yes, it is confirmed next month, AEW Dynasty from St. Louis, Missouri.
2 weeks.
See the debut of Randy Orton.
No. 2 weeks after WrestleMania, Tony Khan, calm down with the pay-per-views. We can't spend $50 every month.
Apparently he's doing this because Warner Brothers wants more pay-per-views.
Then get a fucking streaming deal. Help out the fans.
Yeah.
You were a fan.
Yes, I agree.
Tony Khan was a mark, just like both of us.
100% agree. And you want to hear something even crazier? They're still going to run a Collision on Saturday Night WrestleMania.
Ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. Yeah, you think anybody's going to watch Collision that night? No. Not a chance. Not a chance. Not a fucking chance. So, yeah. Anyway.
I don't care if you book Macho Man versus the Ultimate Warrior on that show. No one's going to watch it.
Not going to comment, but anyway.
I don't care if you book George the Animal Steel on that show. No one's going to watch it.
What, are you just gonna are we gonna resurrect all the dead wrestlers and then just put them on this episode of Collision?
I don't want to see George the goddamn Animal Steel.
Jesus Christ, this podcast has really gone off the rails, but here we go. This is what the pay-per-view was all about, Tomas. Here it is.
Tornado tag team match for the AEW tag team titles for the last time. The Young Bucks, Nicholas and Matthew Jackson, we'll get to that in a second, versus Darby Allin and the Icon Sting. Before we get into the Sting, Tony Schiavone said for the last time, let me say it, but that's not going to be the last time he says it.
No. Sting might make appearances here and there, but this is his last wrestling appearance.
So real quick, the Young Bucks, they've been in some hot water behind the scenes, the whole CM Punk situation.
You don't say.
So they took that and they use it to their advantage. They said, you want to call us asshole EVPs? Okay, we'll be asshole EVPs. They got douchebag facial hair. They got douchebag clothes. They are not Matt and Nick anymore. They are going by their birth God-given names, Matthew and Nicholas. They are dealing out fines backstage. They are using the EVP card so hard to get them opportunities and to literally step on people's toes to get what they want. So Sting and Darby Allin won the tag team titles from Bill and Starks because Darby Allin said that they wanted to win the tag team titles before they retired, and the Young Bucks laid down the challenge. Can we talk about the Young Bucks beating the shit out of Sting and his two boys leading into this pay-per-view?
The heel Young Bucks.
The Bucks.
Yeah.
They know how to get heat.
My favorite version of the Young Bucks are the bastard heel Young Bucks, who doesn't matter who they have to beat up, whether it's Sting, who's going on 65 years old. No wonder he retired on this pay-per-view. Whether it be Sting's two sons, whether it be the ring announcer, like PWG, whether it be, like super kick the ring announcer over and over again over one Battle of Los Angeles weekend. Yeah, no, that was fucking hilarious as shit. But whether it be, putting thumbtacks in Candice LeRae's mouth and super kicking her, like, the bastard Young Bucks are like my favorite version of the Bucks. And this whole perception of them as being just asshole EVPs and them amplifying this perception into new characters, I think, say what you want about the Bucks, I think it's a brilliant move. And let me also, King, can I make this point real quick before we continue? This is Sting's last match. I know there were people who were kind of disappointed that his final opponent was going to be the Bucks. This was Sting's choice. All right? He wasn't asked to work with the Young Bucks. Yeah, no, apparently Sting wanted to work the Bucks in this match. So, Sting, you bet, like, with all the bullshit that he's been throughout his career, with all the shit that he's had to deal with creatively, the Starrcade 1997 fiasco, like, especially
the Victory Road 2011 fiasco, like all the stuff that he's had to put up with. And honestly, my question is, and this is a legitimate question, who did you want him to face?
Yeah.
He wasn't going to do a one-on-one.
No.
Like,
no.
You can't overexpose Sting at this stage of his career.
Considering the fact that Darby Allin almost died in the middle of this match, like, Sting might as well have worked this match on his own. Like, there was a whole, 10 minutes or so where he was facing the Bucks in a handicap match. Like, it was, I don't know.
People could have said FTR. No. Here's the thing about Sting. Have you not been paying attention to his career the past 4 years? He can't do technical matches anymore. Even though he came back, he still has a broken neck.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah, he was able to come back from it, but he had to change his whole style, and he became a brawler. Like, what have we been seeing him doing? Multi-tag team match brawls. He's been jumping off of balconies. He's been doing crazy spots with weapons. He's been jumping off the top rope, but he hasn't been doing like a moonsault or a shooting star. He's just been doing a simple splash. Like, Darby Allin's been doing all the crazy shit, and Sting has been coming in for the big spots. So, again, let me ask the question. What did you guys want?
I mean, what we got was fucking awesome. So the Bucks come out as the challengers with their Cody Vader. Darby makes his entrance first.
Oh, real quick, you know how the Bucks used to make it rain dollar bills? Now they make it rain their business cards.
What douchebags, man. What douchebags, So Darby makes his entrance on the skateboard, and then you get such an emotional short film here known as The Final Showtime. Basically what this is it's the Stinger in full face paint in an empty movie theater, which sounds like fucking heaven for a movie critic like me. He's sitting there and he's looking at all of his greatest hits, all of his greatest accomplishments throughout his career, all the way up to his run in AEW, which, say what you want about Tony Khan, I think he's booked Sting perfectly since he came in during the pandemic. He's booked him perfectly. It's a perfect send-off for a legend. So the curtain closes, Sting's looking around, and suddenly he starts scowling, and he's like, "It's showtime for the last time. Let's do this." And, it's, like, the only thing that was missing, I would have loved if Sting did this. Let's fucking do this! But, like, I wouldn't have...
Hey, Sting is a good-hearted Christian man.
I know. It would have been.
He doesn't care that his kids are in his 20s. He will not drop such foul language.
And let's talk about his children. So this entrance was fucking amazing in its own right. You get that video package, which is very touching and emotional. My only nitpick about that, I really wish that Tony Khan had the balls to actually approach WWE and ask them for some of Sting's archival footage to use. Like him beating Ric Flair, Great American Bash 1990. I would have loved to have seen that here.
People keep putting the blame on WWE, like, oh, WWE want to get all footage. Did Tony Khan approach TNA? I didn't see a lick of TNA footage in there.
Nope. Tony Khan's you want to talk about his relationship with other companies, fucking grow a pair. If you want to send Sting off the right way, show every single facet of his career. So, yeah.
It'd be one thing if WWE said no, and, people, that was a topic of conversation. I'm like, okay, can we not just target WWE every time? Sting had a hefty career in WCW. I mean, in TNA. Could have asked him for footage of that.
Yep, but nope. Tony
TNA
Khan,
is where I was first exposed to Sting.
Yeah, no. Tony Khan has treated Sting so fucking well over these past number of years, but if I'm really nitpicking, that was one thing that I wish he would have done. But this entrance,
Also,
this hold on,
Nature Boy Ric Flair was at ringside for this. Ricky the Dragon Steamboat was the guest timekeeper,
which is cool.
Nikolai Volkov.
No. Volkov wasn't there. Volkov's dead. It was Nikita Koloff. It was Magnum TA, and it was Scotty Riggs.
Thank you.
Yeah, no, you're okay. You're okay. Nikita Koloff. I mean, I get it. Their names are similar, so it's all good.
Yeah.
Little Freudian slip.
Volkov was there too.
Freudian slip, where you say one thing but you mean another. Anyway, so you also have
Sheik was there too, right?
Yeah. Who?
Sheik was there too, right?
No.
Yeah. He was.
No, Sheiky was not there. You had Lex Luger was there for sure. I don't. Yeah, DDP had to have been there, but again, who knows?
Kevin Nash was invited, and WWE told him no.
Wow.
Yeah.
So
Nash said so on his podcast. He was asked to come, and WWE told him no.
That's stupid. That's stupid.
Yeah.
So, this entrance really got me, man. So they play the AEW theme for Sting, and one of his sons comes out dressed up just like he was at Great American Bash 1990. Same gear, same face paint, Surfer Sting. It was so cool to see that. Then his other son, who apparently played tight end for the University of Kentucky and is an all-star over there, he was dressed like Wolfpack Sting. And he was tall enough to look like fucking Kevin Nash dressed in Sting getup. Like, it was pretty cool to see that. And then Seek and Destroy starts playing throughout the arena. The real Stinger comes out. His sons accompany him down to the ring. And they're, like, decked out in the Sting face paint. And I've never seen
his
more...
adopted son, Darby Allin.
No, that's his nephew. What are you talking about? So
no, that's his adopted son. Don't ever talk to him or his son ever again.
This was, I mean, I don't know what else you guys would have wanted out of Sting's retirement match. This was so freaking fun. It was just...
this match started right away with Darby Allin with a torpedo suicide dive, taking out the Bucks from the outside. They bring the Bucks in the ring. How could you not love this? Sting and his two boys and Darby Allin all in stereo. Stinger splashes to Matthew and Nicholas in both corners of the ring.
It's a generational Stinger splash. I loved it. Loved it.
Sting stacks the Bucks and puts them both in the Scorpion Deathlock, and I sat there and I go, I would be satisfied right now if they both tapped out.
I was like, is this the end? Like, that can't be the end, but...
I would be satisfied. I wouldn't have had an issue with that.
No, I wouldn't have...
No. Sting deserves a full-length match going out, but
he does.
That would have been funny as fuck.
Yeah, can we also mention that the son, one of Sting's sons, the tight end that I mentioned, he got some height on that Stinger splash, man. Like, that dude is an athlete. Like, if he had any interest in following in his father's footsteps, I'm sure Tony Khan would have no problem signing him either. But, in any case, they start brawling all throughout the crowd. The Bucks are trying to escape. Darby gets suplexed to a table by Nicholas. Sting at 64 years old gets suplexed off the stage by Matthew. And Matthew, I'm sure, had to be as careful as possible. But, I mean, they took care of Sting so well in this thing. Don't
kill this guy on his way out, please.
No. And please don't kill Darby Allin either, for that matter, because they introduce...
Darby Allin's going to kill himself.
No, they introduce panes of glass. Like glass that you would find like on shower doors. You know that? Like, you know how you find those at like, Bed Bath & Beyond? Like, it's...
Was it real glass?
Yeah, go cry me a river. So, anyway, don't show CM Punk this match. So, what happened is, they pull out one, Sting has a signature baseball bat, he bangs the steel steps, and then he goes for another Buck who's, like, leaning on the, on the painted glass, hits it with the bat, and the glass just completely shatters, and I'm like,
while we're going
God.
through this match, I think it's appropriate to share some random Sting stories. You know how I found out Sting was using a real baseball bat?
How?
Because watching TNA, And you're wondering myself, like, is that a real bat or is he using like a wiffle ball bat that they just painted really black? He was brawling with Abyss in the backstage area, and he went to hit Abyss with the baseball bat, and Abyss like swatted it out of his hands, and the bat hit the ground, and it sounded like a metal pipe. And I'm like, oh, Sting does use a real baseball bat. I was also watching some old Sting clips before the pay-per-view, and I had no idea that when Sting was wrestling Kurt Angle at Bound for Glory 2007, Angle went to hit Sting in the face with the baseball bat, and I guess the bat slipped through Sting's fingers, and for a split second, it banged Sting on the nose. And Sting knows it. Oh. You can hear the dink and everything. It's kind of nasty.
Of course, because it's Sting. He no-sells everything. You know, that's what makes him fun. So, Darby, this poor motherfucker, like, he has a death wish. Like, he wants to climb Mount Everest with his will, you know? Like, I still don't know when he's planning on fucking doing that. I hope he doesn't do that, because he might actually fucking die up there. But, in any case...
scheduled to wrestle on Wednesday.
That's insane. Insane, man. So, he grabs this ladder, had to be at least 12 feet tall, and I know this because Darby Allin could barely lift this thing up. He goes up to the top of this really high ladder, does the Sting chest bang, goes for a swanton on one of the Bucks on this pane of glass, which is bridged between some chairs. Darby takes a back bump through this glass, and it shatters, and his back looks like ground beef that you would buy from the butcher section. It is disgusting. Like, I realize that this is... Yeah.
Seeping from the pores. Like, I thought it was a pretty impressive spot at first. Like, I was like, wow, that's crazy. Like, to see all that, like, shatter the way it did. But then the minute Darby Allin turned around and there was blood seeping out of his pores, I was like, what the fuck?
This match, this spot right here is the epitome of don't try this at home. Like, yeah. Good fucking Lord. Like, if you were to actually try this, like, you know, with your little brothers as you're wrestling, like, in your backyard, like, if you were to try this and you were to try and replicate this spot, you would probably actually die. So, yeah, don't do this. Don't do this. You know, it's stupid. So, anyway... This is the reason why Sting wrestles the Bucks 1-on-2 for a little bit. The Bucks are in firm control here. Sting is a massive underdog. I mean, these guys are such assholes that they super kick Ricky Steamboat at ringside after Nicholas tries to grab one of the tag belts he uses a weapon. Ric Flair very slowly and very gingerly gets into the ring to protect Sting from further punishment, because Sting actually did go through another pane of glass, which looked relatively safer compared to everything else, because Sting was, you know, decked out in full, you know, he's wearing his black t-shirt, you know, heavy black jeans, so he was going to be protected either way. Flair very slowly gets into the ring when it's not his fight, it's not his moment. Why does he have to get involved? Fuck him. He basically, he gets on top of Sting, basically says, no, don't touch Sting anymore. Don't do it. You're no good.
Oh, man, what are you
Son of a
do?
Bitch. Well, what are you going to do? He's going to get super kicked by the Young Bucks as hard as they can. And I was honestly kind of begging for Matthew and Nicholas to super kick him again. You know, just to...
I mean...
Yeah.
You want to tell people have death wishes? Again, Flair had no reason to be in there taking bumps.
Ric Flair's last match was 2008, and that's what I acknowledge. So, anyway. In any regard, the Bucks start to hit their EVP triggers on Sting. They hit a second EVP trigger on him. Sting just keeps kicking out. The second EVP trigger, he kicks out at 1. And then he starts stinging up. He starts, you know, like going absolutely bananas.
Sting is the definition of too angry to die. This old man, this fucking old man will not stay down.
This guy just will not go down. Like, there was a point where the Bucks jokingly poke fun at the Ric Flair-Shawn Michaels match from WrestleMania 24, which was Ric Flair's final match. I will not take any other answer there. So
they get ready to super kick Sting, and they say, "We don't love you, we hate you," and they go for the super kick. I'm like, oh, I loved it.
Yeah,
I fucking loved it.
And they actually do. They super kick Sting, and Sting is leaning back, doesn't leave his feet, takes the super kick, and then he just does that, and he's like, yeah, come on, come at me again. That was
my
fucking incredible.
TNA spot of Sting is all time.
What's
I think
that?
it was Bound for Glory. Okay. If he wrestled Angle at 07, then he must have wrestled Jarrett. No, he wrestled Jarrett at 07.
He wrestled Jarrett at 06.
06?
Yeah. It was no. So what happened was he wrestled Jarrett at 06, and Kurt was the special enforcer of that match because that was when TNA had just signed Kurt. Remember, like, you know, he was just released from WWE. They brought Kurt in because he was on a 90-day no compete clause. So they wanted to put him on TV though, because you know he's Kurt fucking Angle and he's a big name. So they have him be the special enforcer. Jarrett versus Sting was the feud, and that was their WrestleMania. You know, so it was Jarrett.
So my favorite spot of the match was when Jarrett hit Sting with the guitar, like bashed it over his head, and Sting no-sold it, looks at Jarrett and goes, "Ah!" And it reminded me of that. I'm like, oh. The Sting no-sells were like my favorite.
The Sting no-sells are always great, like throughout his whole career. Sting starts making his fiery comeback. It looks like he's about to beat the Bucks all on his own. He hits. Oh, there was another close near fall too, where Matt hits a Scorpion Death Drop on Sting, and I was
I'm
like,
sure that was your favorite spot of the match.
Fuck, man! Like they had me. You know, like it. Either way, you would have won this. Like, you know, I would have been like, yeah, this was the right way to go. Because you don't have the Bucks super kicking old men out there, and you don't have them get their comeuppance. Like that would just not be the right thing to do. So
the day of the pay-per-view, or the weekend going into this pay-per-view, I couldn't help but think, like, I was very conflicted on who I wanted to win this match. Does Sting win and remain and retire undefeated with a title, you know, big happy ending? Or does he do the honors the old school way and give the Bucks the greatest heat they've ever received in their career? Because if the Bucks win, you're never going to hear the end of it. And it's going to add that much more heat to make every single fan out there hate them. But the more I thought about it, I was like, either way, I'm going to be happy. Whatever direction they go with the match, I was going to be happy.
This match just made me feel so happy to be a wrestling fan. Sting hits a Scorpion Death Drop on Matt, and he was milking it like it was going to be the last Scorpion Death Drop he was ever going to drop. Yeah, Matthew, thank you. So I will accept that. So
you don't want to get fined by them.
Yeah, there was a false finish there. Matthew kicks out. Darby Allin somehow is walking, and he gets up on the top rope, and his back's just bleeding everywhere. Again, it just looks like, you know, meat that you had just tenderized. Yeah.
Shards of glass still stuck in his back.
Darby Allin's back is going to be a topographical map at some point in his 30s. So he's going to go up there, and he hits a coffin drop right on the same spot that he had taken that bump with the glass. Dumb. Absolutely dumb. So Darby does the coffin drop. Sting looks around. Locks in the Scorpion Deathlock on Matthew. Matthew taps out. Sting retires a champion, undefeated in AEW. Nobody brought this guy down. Yeah. I mean, technically speaking,
he has to be the first legend in history to do that. With one company.
Yeah. Undertaker didn't even do that. So, it's, yeah, absolutely insane. But parting words for the Stinger, man. I mean, where do you even start? All the memories that he's brought up along the way. Like,
this just brought out, again, this pay-per-view just brought out so many emotions in me. And Sting's send-off was so comforting. Not many wrestlers can call it quits when they want to, with such a good reputation intact. Sting should be the model of what every wrestler should aspire to be. To wrestle such a long and fruitful and successful career, and to end it on your terms, and just to know when to call it quits. I was too young to enjoy Sting in his WCW days, because I was 8 years old when WCW was dead. So I didn't get to enjoy his WCW days. I first saw Sting in TNA. I remember when they signed Sting, and I knew, I know who this guy is. and I know he's really cool. So that second half of his career from TNA to WWE to AEW, that's what I got to enjoy, and it was really good. TNA is what made me a Sting fan, and I was a little Stinger from start to finish. I want to say 2006 to 2009, I was like the biggest Sting mark in the world. And then when I had the means to go back and watch all of his other WCW stuff, Sting really was the hero you could rely on. He was the man. He was professional wrestling's Batman in the sense of he saw that when the NWO came, everybody else panicked, everyone else got scared, and Sting went away. And he told himself, I'm going to deal with these guys, but I need to prepare. I need a long time to prepare. He disappeared for what, like 3 years?
And no, not that long. Not that long. It was like
he was gone for a while.
No, he left. He walked out. Like the last time you saw Surfer Sting was Fall Brawl 1996, when he helped Team WCW for a bit. Yeah, no, he was gone. Maybe even less than that. But he didn't get into the ring again until Starrcade '97, which is.
But it was a minute. It was a hot minute.
No,
he got back in the ring.
They built up this Hogan Sting match for so long, and Sting was their franchise. Sting was their guy.
You got the clips of Sting in the Raptors watching over WCW, knowing like I'm going to save you guys, but when the time is right. And he just was he was a real life superhero in pro wrestling. The way he would drop to the ring, he would clear the bad guys out with the baseball bat.
In so many variant ways, too, because you have Surfer Sting, who's like, he's the cool, fun-loving hero. He comes in and he's like, dressing up as like a face-painted Homelander. He's going in there and he's
a man called Sting.
Yeah, he does this and he does that. It's just fun stuff like that. So, just one of the worst theme songs of all time, but it's still a guilty pleasure.
But you love it. I enjoyed his TNA career, and even in the latter half of that, I was like, is this guy ever going to retire? And you know what?
Nope.
Say what you want about Sting in WWE. You can say it until you're blue in the face till the cows come home. I understand. But Survivor Series 2014 was very special. I will never forget that night. Sting making his debut in the WWE.
Me neither.
It was an honor to be in the building for his one and only WrestleMania match. Say what you want about it. I get it. I thought the match was very fun. And just the fact that I was there for Sting's only WrestleMania match.
Same.
Was so freaking cool. Yeah. And again, say what you want about Sting in WWE, but you cannot deny that moment when Triple H and Stephanie were going to reveal the Seth Rollins statue and they pulled up the curtain and Sting was there.
That was
cool.
That was a quintessential Sting moment. Just seeing him holding up the WWE Championship was just a surreal image in its own right.
But come on. I think I had that spoiled for me too, so I was mad. But you're watching that segment, you're like, do any of you watching at home and any of you in the crowd could have predicted they were going to pull up that curtain and Sting was going to be there?
No.
Nobody could have predicted that.
Yeah, that is.
The look on Triple H and Stephanie's face like, hi, Sting.
Hi, Sting.
When did you get back, buddy?
No, and then a couple weeks later, Sting got to showcase some of his, like, Joker Sting mentality in a heroic sense because he has the Seth Rollins bronze statue, and he's, like, pushing it, and he's like, ooh, oh, bye-bye, and it goes into the garbage truck, and it's, like, crushed to smithereens.
And it sucks that we only got 3 WWE matches out of Sting. 2 of them which he lost. And, the Night of Champions match, it was what it was. Shit happens. But the fact that a man his age came back from a broken neck 4 years later, and here's the thing, I will never forget his debut in TNA. I'll never forget his debut in WWE. And I'll never forget his debut in AEW. When I saw Sting come out, I was like, this isn't real. This is not fucking real. Sting is not like, what the? He's too angry to die. And of course, that iconic moment where he sized Darby Allin up and he basically looked at him and go like, you're coming with me, kid. Like, I like you. And they became Batman and Robin of AEW. And I know, I poked fun at Sting being so old and performing at the age that he did, but it was fun. It was super fun to see what the fuck this old man was capable of. In 2020 to 2024.
And say what you want about Tony Khan, I get it, but he hasn't really handled anybody better than Sting. At least I don't think so. This was a perfect retirement run for Sting. 29 matches in AEW, which is a crazy number when you think about it. He has won every single one, most of which he's tapped people out. And I understand, Sting's the older guy. He's not putting anybody over, but it doesn't really matter. It doesn't really matter all that much in the grand scheme of things. You could put anybody over that you want to. So
a lot of people to rub.
Mm-hmm.
You think about some of the people he wrestled, those people were like, holy shit, I get to wrestle Sting?
Yeah.
How many people get to say that? Like, you look at, what they used to be called Bear Country. Now they're the Iron Savages.
Yeah.
Sting them on an episode of Collision. And they were probably like, did they ever think they would get a chance to wrestle Sting?
No. No fucking way. How different is Darby Allin's career trajectory without Sting?
Exactly.
It's
like you think about all the time they probably spent together backstage just talking. And Sting has probably given Darby Allin advice to last him a lifetime. But apparently Sting can't convince Darby Allin to not jump off a skyscraper.
It's crazy stuff that I won't get into about Darby Allin right now, but because this is
5 stars.
Yeah.
I don't care. The whole entire package from start to finish. It was 5 stars.
Whole thing.
Like, you can't put a price on sentiment.
And Sting, his career has had its ups and its downs. He's dealt with a lot of bullshit in his career. Starrcade 97 and Victory Road 2011 both come to mind. But he has remained professional through it all. And Tony Schiavone said it best as Sting was celebrating and the confetti was falling. It is rare in this business to find someone like Sting. You see a lot of pro wrestlers in this industry. Sting is a better man than he is a wrestler, and it's rare to find people that are as nice as Sting in the industry.
So I was reading a lot of wrestlers. They wrote little testaments about Sting. And I think it was Arn Anderson's, the one that got to me the most. Arn said, I never called you Steve. I just felt like Steve was reserved for your family. Those were the ones that deserved to call you Steve or Dad. Because as much as a family man you were, you were the greatest family man I ever knew, I always called you Sting. And to have that level of respect, that again, he's like a parallel to The Undertaker.
Yep.
I'm pretty sure Sting was the godfather of WCW. He was the godfather of TNA. I hope a lot of those peoples in AEW went to him and be like, let me sit under the learning tree of Sting.
Yep. I don't want to say that, oh man, Sting has this whole career and, I don't want to sit here and say I wish I could have seen this and I wish I could have seen that out of Sting, because that's not the point. That Sting versus Undertaker match was right there, man. We almost had it, but
yeah. My only regret. 2 regrets.
It is what it is.
Undertaker match, and I wish Sting's WWE run wasn't cut off the way it was.
Yeah, it is what it is in the grand scheme of things. But Sting is still
he got to go in the Hall of Fame.
Yes, he's had a hell of a career. 2 different Hall of Fames for 2 different companies. And I feel like if AEW starts to establish a Hall of Fame, you better believe that Sting's a first ballot. 100%. Yeah. So, unprecedented. He's one of the greatest to ever do it. Congratulations on an incredible career, Sting. And thank you for the memories. That's
Absolutely.
what I got.
Now, Sting, I know your kids are grown now, but go home and just enjoy life. You've earned it, buddy. You've earned it, Stinger.
Yep, he's earned it. If there's one person who I think would not renege on the saying that this is his last match, I think the Stinger is going to honor that. So,
will this be the last time he dons the face paint, wears the coat, and brings out the baseball?
No,
I don't think.
He's going to be a WrestleCon this year in Philadelphia. You better believe that he's going to paint up his face and take photos with the fans. I'm pretty sure he's going to do that at every WrestleCon from every year. So
pretty sure that whenever AEW does an anniversary show or a big milestone show, there'll be some poor babyface getting his ass kicked. The lights will go out, and Sting will appear with the baseball bat to fight him off.
Yeah.
This isn't the end for Sting, but I'm glad he can, he's retiring on top. That is so comforting to know.
And on his own terms, which is, again, very rare in this business. But with that said, thank you again, Stinger, for the memories, and enjoy life after wrestling. You've earned it. But with that,
this
Revolution
gets
fucking
9.5
awesome.
out of 10. This was my favorite AEW pay-per-view of all time. Like, with a couple of snaps here and there, every single match was so freaking good. Again, not the women's match and not the 8-man scramble. And could you ask more of a send? I hope they give Sting more of a send-off on Wednesday. I hope he comes out and he gets to cut another promo and everyone is able to just, shower him with more affection.
Yeah.
But, I love this pay-per-view. It had 2 5-star matches on it.
Yeah.
And everything else pretty damn good.
I think because of the 2 lackluster matches that were on this card out of 9 total, and after, discussing it all the way through, I think I'm going to give this a 9.25 out of 10. This is definitely one of AEW's better shows that they've done, and that's an incredible testament considering how cold they've been since World's End, and the fact that they pulled this pay-per-view out of their ass. It's awesome. If you want to say that this is your favorite AEW pay-per-view of all time, you can go right ahead. I don't know if I like this more than All Out from 2021 with CM Punk versus Darby Allin and all that, but damn, this is still a marvelous pay-per-view, and it's well worth your money.
And again, I think about all of the WrestleManias in the past that have just given me this warm and fuzzy feeling inside. And this is the first time a non-WWE pay-per-view has done that for me. And again, most of that has to do with Sting's retirement. But it's something like this that really makes you sit back as a wrestling fan and reflect, and you look at the stars we have today and just go man, don't take them for granted because you don't know when their last match is going to be.
Exactly.
We're lucky enough that a guy like Randy Orton, one of our childhood heroes, is still going strong. Mm-hmm. John Cena has a couple of matches left in him. I was sad when The Undertaker retired. I was very sad when Kane retired. I was very sad, when some of these wrestler deaths come out of nowhere. So it's just again, WrestleMania time is a perfect time to sit back and reflect, how much pro wrestling has really influenced our lives.
Yeah.
And I changed it for the better.
Exactly. Yeah, I'm right there with you, man. Don't take these wrestlers for granted because you never know when their last match is going to be. So we're just going to enjoy the ride while we still can because we still got a lot of ZNT wrestling shows to do over here. Up next is we got a couple of 2005 pay-per-views to get to before WrestleMania in this retro. No Mercy and Taboo Tuesday both, so stay tuned for those. WrestleMania season is upon us. We're still working out some details for a retro WrestleMania podcast. We still don't know which WrestleMania we're going to do. Let us know down in the comments which WrestleManias you want to hear us talk about. And yeah, big extra large WrestleMania on the way. 2 nights of stupendous action, of course, if I could use the 38 term for a minute.
Stupendous 2 nights in history. I
God
hope you like
it.
The Rock, Roman Reigns, Cody Rhodes, and Seth Rollins because you're going to see a lot of them.
I do. I like all 4 of those guys. But
so,
anyway.
Let me ask you guys once again, where are my Cody crybabies at?
Yeah, and don't diss Pharaoh. Don't diss Pharaoh either. Pharaoh doesn't...
Goofy ad dog.
Pharaoh didn't do anything wrong. So, yeah.
Do you think Pharaoh is a goofy ad dog?
No, he's not. But anyway, hit that subscribe button if you're new. Hit that thumbs up. Thank you all so much for tuning in and keeping with us for this long. And yeah, commence that back talk, guys. Take care.